Hello everybody and welcome back to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will, I'm a D&D sex icon, and we're back today for another episode of Kobold Press's The World's Tree Burns. Oh boy, are we getting into it today, my friends. So it's great to be back. Let's start by going around a cast and a crew and reminding ourselves of who we are and who we'll be playing tonight. Let's start with our inimitable Dungeon Master, Dan Dillon. Dan, how's it going, my friend?
It's going fantastic, and I'm delighted to be back. I'm bummed we missed last week, and I'm ready to dive back into the game. So I'm Dan Dillon. I'm the Dungeon Master for The World Tree Burns, and I'm just so delighted to be here on Encounter Roleplay. Thank you, Will, once again. And yeah, this is The World Tree Burns in the campaign setting of Midgard from Kobold Press. Dark fantasy, just dead devils and exploded dudes all over the place right now is where we are. So yeah, let's get around to everybody and get into it.
Fantastic. Let's start off today with Scarlett Moff. Scarlett, how's it going today?
Hello, I've missed everybody so much. I've missed playing. I've been shaking by going through withdrawals. It's like coffee, but worse.
Truth.
I'm just excited to get back
it's
into
like
it.
coffee, but worse, yeah.
It does keep you awake at night.
That's true, yeah. Oh my god, it's all coming together. Well, tell us a little bit about who you'll be playing today, Scarlett.
I will be playing Rowan, the Ravenfolk cleric, who may or may not be already dead.
Yeah. One of
There
the
was
things
that
we're
bombshell
working out
last time.
today. Yep.
That's a whole thing.
Thanks,
yeah,
Glaz.
Well, speaking of Glaz, Tosco, how's it going tonight?
Hey, how are you doing? I am excited to be here. I love the Midgard world setting. It is a pile of fun. I think we're going to get into a lot of fun Midgard stuff and things today. Some of the deep lore that I love so much. But I will be playing Glaz. He is a geomancer. He is a trollkin, and he did what he needed to do to make sure the party was going to be okay. I have do not see why everyone is having such a problem.
Well, last but not least, we have Cloak with us today. Cloak, how's it going, my friend?
It's going great. Apparently, Cloak is the best one at keeping his secrets, away from everyone, unless he chooses to tell someone about it. So there's that. I just want to point that out to the rest of the players. Winky face. Hi, everyone. I'm playing Cloak, the lovable, honest gnome who never tells a lie and gets everyone out of every situation unscathed. Yeah, I'm excited. I know we had last week off, but that just gives me more time to plot. There's one thing I know I want to do today, but I don't know how this is gonna turn out because I think the paladins are gonna show up soon.
I don't like the sound of any of that. It's the roses. Wait a minute, I'm a paladin. Speaking of which, world's worst paladin, Riordan here. He had a damn fun time fighting some devils. Aside from nearly dying a couple of times, that was pretty awesome. Getting to show off his proper paladin abilities the other week and getting to banish and make things scared of me and stuff like that. So he's having a good time, but he's now fully on the vengeance path, I think, because Ksenia has, he suspects at least, slighted him one time too many. And now he's in for some revenge, I think. So before we get started today, and before we get into the mess that we've just gotten ourselves into and just out of, I guess. Alrighty, guys, I have a couple of things. The first of which is we are sponsored here today by Kobold Press. Go over to koboldpress.com. We're playing in a wonderful world of Midgard, and it's just fantastic to have immersed ourselves in this game and as well for so long. So definitely go and check it out. They've got an amazing interactive map that you can go look at all the different cities and towns, and of course they've got PDFs up there coming out every day. It seems like for extra Midgard materials, races, classes to play with and enjoy with D&D5E. And of course, our usual list of sponsors includes fantasygrounds.com, our virtual tabletop of choice. You can go download that for free on a demo version, and I believe their other licenses are on a Steam sale right now, so you can go to Steam and you can check out Fantasy Grounds and see what the discount is looking like over there. And of course, whalengames.co.uk is a go-to destination for tabletop board games, war games, and more at up to 20% off the retail value. And last but not least, www.diceenvy.com is a place to get all of your dice needs. They have a subscription box that you can sign up to for as little as $5 per month, and they send mystery dice to your house every single month. So if you're a dice addict like all of us here, then you can join us in indulging your I don't know. What is there a term for like dice addiction?
Your habits. Your habits.
A dice?
I like
There
that.
should be some
Yeah.
kind of pun in it.
Yeah, we'll work on that. We'll work on that for next time.
Your
but if you check out
discerning
Dice
taste.
yes.
Do not eat the dice. They look tasty, but please. They're very gritty.
They are a hazard, small children. Go ahead and retweet this tweet if you haven't already. Spread the good word of Midgard and Encounter Roleplay around. And of course, you can donate to a fellow game as well by giving players nat 1s, nat 20s, wild magic surges, and oh, so much worse. So, without any further ado, I will hand over to Mr. Dan Dillon to remind ourselves of what happened last time on the show and to take us into tonight's episode of The World Tree Burns.
Indeed. So last session was pretty straightforward. It was a knockdown, drag-out, no-holds-barred, just devil battle, right? A little rift to hell tore its way open through the body of a hapless mercenary who was in one of the employees of a kind of slight ally of your folks, Vandessian Thrick, the leader of the Black Shields Mercenary Company. The devils erupted onto the scene during a sit-down between the Black Shields and the Cloven Nine, a gang of tiefling infernalists. And the tieflings pieced out immediately. Their first actions were all dimension door across the board, and they were out. The Black Shields had no such quick escape, so they were in the thick of it, shoulder to shoulder with you guys, battling against these devils in the middle of the Soak Scabbard up on the second floor. Panic ensued. It was horrible. There was blood. There was guts. Rowan almost died a bunch. And really, everybody just kind of pulled out all the stops on all their cool tricks. Tilly, our dwarf fighter, who sadly not with us at the moment, she went to town beating devils to death with her silver-clad shield, since silver weapons happened to be their bane, which she found out rather fortuitously. Glaz unleashed some arcane might, and at the culmination of the battle, when you guys were fighting the Horn Devil, who was kind of the terrifying leader of this hellish trio, he pulled out a dark artifact that you guys had collected. One of two pages that he has from an item called the Nullifier's Lexicon. It is stamped with all sort of void magic and void speech, and he apparently has been studying it and tuning to it in his off time. And so he broke out a full-blown void magic spell and let out this litany of blasphemous chanting that undid the Horned Devil, stopped it in its tracks, made it drop its weapon, cost it an entire turn, allowed Rowan to get away without being killed with an opportunity attack. All kinds of great stuff happened, and that ended up being the Devil's undoing. And that's kind of where we left off. We left off sort of in the aftermath of that craziness. The Black Shields have sort of taken their leave after thanking you for saving their asses, and Thrick has sort of given you a standing invitation to call on him if you guys want to talk about whatever's going on and kind of fill him in. But
Terry with the 10,000 cheer for Pigeon.
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
All right. Well, she warned me that was happening, so. Pigeon pants, noted.
You were warned.
Wait.
Get
What the fuck are pigeon pants?
Oh, metal
saw
pants.
It has no armor.
All right, so I know what she's talking about.
Pigeon pants.
Turi82 happens to be my lovely and talented sister, and so we've talked about this a little bit. She is donating to give Rowan some frigging armor, so she could maybe not be annihilated quite so handily as has happened in the past. And that's a pretty big cheer, if I'm not mistaken, right? Well, what level are we?
That sure is. I don't even know what
is that. Is that like that's magic item donation level, or what are we talking about?
That's way and above. Let's see,
Okay.
math. Let's like
You have plus 10
This
pigeon
guy's a
pants.
fucking amazing
That's
pigeon armor.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Double go mad is kind of what it is. It's kind of a double go mad.
Is it pigeon-sized armor, or is it armor made of pigeons?
It's armor for a giant pigeon. So it'll be functional armor for you.
Kind of racist.
No, I don't think so. All right. So in the aftermath of this battle, there was a little bit of a horrified revelation as the rest of the party realized what Glaz did. There was no way to not realize it. People were bleeding from the eyes. People were vomiting. Glaz's mouth split and bled as he spoke these words. Reality itself tried to reject them. It was all crazy. In addition to that, every time Rowan has been grievously injured, which has happened a few times, and particularly when this devil was straight up trying to kill her, her body sort of became spectral and ephemeral and was fading away. And so a couple of revelations came out. One, that Glaz has been dabbling in void magic and void artifacts. Two, that Rowan is apparently some sort of ghost. Which is a little perplexing to people, especially Riordan and Cloak, who have used healing magic on her that shouldn't work on an undead creature. But they've seen all sort of ghostly things from Rowan, and Glaz has kind of pinned it down and put it together. She is some sort of undead, some kind of ghost creature. And so I think that you guys were talking about wanting to hash some of that business out. So that is where we're going to go ahead and pick up. And one bookkeeping note I did want to mention, Will, I don't think we were taking this into account, but you're a level 6 paladin these days, so you have the aura of protection. Remember that when people are within 10 feet of you, they have a bonus to all saving throws equal to your charisma modifier.
You're
We still
totally
have a
right.
bitch, Will.
I just wasn't using it then.
Yeah. I didn't need it. I didn't want to break it out yet, darling.
Or maybe you didn't need it.
Yeah.
I need to sweat. No one
right.
knows that it was.
So there we are. The din from the ground floor of the Silk Scabbard has quieted at this point. You can hear voices, but it sounds like they're employees of the bar and brothel that are just sort of filtering up, and you can hear that voices are shaky, they're distraught, they're trying to recover from what just happened. Thankfully, most people didn't actually directly witness what happened on the second floor. A couple of people probably saw the edges of it, but for the most part, thanks to some timely intervention from Puff Puff, the blink dog, most of the bystanders were pulled out of the kill zone before anything terrible happened. So that's where we're going to pick up. So I'll let you guys kind of jump in as you prefer.
Glaz is starting to clean up the mess. I mean, we've got the body that was ripped into. We've got sort of ectoplasmic demon gook or whatever demons leave behind. You were saying they kind of went.
Wasn't that evaporating?
So the horned devil that was killed in the throes of the void magic, its ichor is not like evaporating or really going away. Some of it has kind of burned away and left behind this little dust, but most of that kind of thick gelatinous black goop that was left behind is still there, just sort of like quivering.
Can I collect more of it?
I'll help the Cloak to gather some of it.
Oh yeah, you were collecting vials of it. So yeah, you collect.
I had two so far.
Okay, I'll say you can collect another one, and it starts to kind of solidify a little bit, and it becomes this almost styrofoam-like texture that is hard to work with and kind of crumbles to powder in your hands. But you have 3 vials of devil ichor.
Can I?
The horned devil's fork, its big old metal spear, that stuck around. And it was chucked down to the first floor.
That's near the arena, isn't it?
Yeah, down on the first floor somewhere. And the chain devils, their bodies are just gone, but there are lots of remnants of their chains that they were draped in, sort of scattered about.
As Cloak realizes that giant spirit, he collects the last of the blood. He goes and gets it, and he's like, "I can reforge this into my sword."
Okay. All right. So this thing, it's think of it like a kind of a long spear sized for a large creature. So it's a good 15 feet long, maybe 12 feet long.
Yeah. I mean, I know what I need to do.
Sure.
I know it's super long, and I have to be careful, like holding it. I'm gonna the end is like on fire, isn't it? Like that's still a principle of it.
So the forked tines at the end of the spear are not on fire, although you can see that they have scorched into the wood. It looks like they were red hot, and it looks like the inner heat on them has died, and now they're just sort of uncomfortably warm and cooling off naturally.
Oh, damn it. It's not magical, is it?
It sure ain't. I mean, it is hellish iron, so...
I mean...
want to see what it looks like? It looks like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
I was like, Laz, we can make a dagger out of this, and I can make another short sword or imbue the iron with that short sword. That'd be pretty cool. Or I could get, like, new armor made out of hell iron. Oh.
I'm not sure if hell iron is the best idea.
So Cloak Cloak is dragging this massive spear, kind of dragging it along the floor from these two scorched marks where the tines were just burning into the planks. You see Drajan, the bald bartender, kind of cleaning up shattered glass and overturned tables, and he shoots you sort of a scared look, Cloak, over his big black kind of handlebar mustache, and he just sort of goes like busily right back to what he was doing. It's like he just nopes out of whatever the hell was going on upstairs, and he's absorbing himself in mundane, normal, I run a bar work at the moment. You can see Kaja is talking to a few of the companion workers of the Silk Scabbard, and you see the long velvet-coated Tyron, the owner of the establishment, and he looks like he's coming back in from outside where he's finished ushering most of the the rest of the patrons out, and he is speaking with the bouncer as they shut the doors and lock them up tight.
I'm like holding the shine spear, and I was like, oh.
That would be really great to play fetch with Puff Puff.
Too big.
A giant spear that I can barely hold.
Yeah, exactly.
Made of iron.
You know what dogs are like.
I could start jousting.
So upstairs, Glaz and Rowan and Riordan. I know Glaz said you're trying to clean up the mess up there somewhat. So you've got the bits of the devils as already described, and then there's the corpse of poor Barris the Black Shield, who exploded from inside out. And so there's just gore and like caramelized cooked blood spattered all over the place that charred in this hellfire.
I mean, I know prestidigitation can't like make it
It'll
go
help.
away, but it can at least like
It'll help.
kind of like act like a broom, like magically prestidigibroom it.
So basically what that'll do is that'll essentially let you scrape it off the floor, and you'll still have to kind of gather it up, but
eventually we're gonna
concentrating using your cantrips, you can basically get that stuff out of the grout, at least for the moment.
This is bound to smell if we leave it up here. It's going to be awful.
All right.
Awful. It's going to be awful.
Awful. Yeah, very good. So you guys take a few moments. You get the mess kind of squared away and cleaned up, and you have the body kind of rolled over onto a sheet with all the rest of the remains that your guys are going to find a way to dispose of. And so finally, in the wake of all of this horribleness, things just kind of settle and are quiet.
Question, there's no way that this body could be, or what remains of this body could be raised, could it?
Not with a... So you have what? You have access to Revivify?
Oh no, I mean, I was going to do a gentle repose to make sure.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
I mean, that might be a bit hard if he doesn't have any vocal cords left.
So the damage to the body, there's really... it's only intact from about the belly button down. And the rest is, it's going to require something along the lines of a true resurrection to bring this poor bastard back. So I think that is simply beyond anyone's means to manage.
Okay, I probably don't need to worry about anyone bringing him back for nefarious purposes then.
There's really not enough of a corpse or a skeleton to animate, if that's what you're worried about.
Is there just a tablecloth or curtain or something around?
Sure. Yeah, or
As
like
far
a sheet or a pillowcase from one of the nearby rooms.
Yeah, and Rowan's just going to drape that over
Yep.
the remains.
Yep, no problem. So you guys basically have it shrouded in a sheet. Yeah, Cloak.
While they're doing that, do I know... I rolled something last time, and I know this was a summon that took a long time. Do I know if there would be any markings on the body to tell me more about the ritual that was cast on him?
It's possible. You're not sure on the specifics. You're mostly just knowledgeable of essentially the magical principles and the metaphysics that go into something like this. You don't know the exact procedure that was used. And again, being blood magic, because of the way you witness the weird effect happening with the poor bastard's veins right before he popped. Yeah, you're just not aware enough of how that school of magic, for lack of a better term, works to know exactly what to look for.
So all of a sudden you hear dum, 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 as Cloak is bringing the spear up the stairs, and you're like putting the sheet over it, and he's like, no, and he takes the sheet off, and then he starts undressing the armor and like taking off the pants side, and he's like, we gotta see if there's any like wounds or anything, and then starts basically undressing this half body.
Okay.
I mean, I was just trying to cover up the mess and forget it was there.
So you all have had maybe a minute and a half to like sit and clean your hands from all of the nasty work that you've been doing, and start to kind of come to grips with some of this, and a lot of the words that were spoken in anger just a few minutes ago are still kind of ringing in your heads. And so it definitely hasn't been a comfortable quiet. And then that's all shattered by the sound of iron being clanged on the stairs and Cloak coming over and basically tossing this body over and starting to autopsy it down.
Can I just include this in my previous insight check about the or do you need me to roll another insight check? I can roll another.
No, so you don't need to make one at this point. It looks like he's just kind of looking for clues at the moment.
Okay.
You've already twigged to that he is pretty scarily knowledgeable about infernalism. But he's just kind of checking this guy over for whatever you can find, right? And so on a quick cursory glance, Cloak, you kind of flip him over, you move what's left of his armor and shirt out of the way. You can see that he does have some strange marks on his body. It looks like he has some light bruises on the side of his ribs down to his hip and what looks like probably down across his butt. And then on a little bit of the stomach that's remaining, you can see some scratches. And at first you think maybe they were from shrapnel or bone fragments that sort of exploded out of him, or the lashing chain devils. But you look at it a little bit closer, and it actually looks like fingernail scratches, a little more mundane.
In his stomach?
On his stomach, yeah.
Oh, like the outside of his stomach, right?
Like the outside, yeah. And sorry, not his
Okay.
stomach. Like on his tummy.
Okay.
Kind of down past his waist, down towards his hip, that sort of deal. Sort of heading down towards his groin.
At this point, we can also see the inside of the
Little,
stomach, can't we?
You could see a little bit of a little bit of evidence of some no touches going on there.
Well, I think we need to go to the book fetish.
What, right now?
Excuse me?
Well, look at this.
And he like flips it over, and he's like,
He liked getting spanked.
and then he flips it back over, and he's like,
And he liked getting scratched, and there's a lot of, old Riordan style stuff going on down below.
Guilty.
he like he looks around and kind of goes in.
And I was like, I don't know if you guys know this, but like the book fetish is like open late, and it's like a weird sex shop where people like getting tied up and stuff.
Well, that explains their contraceptive herbs.
Yes,
Well,
that explains a lot of it.
Riordan, so as he points out these marks to you, you can see that they do indeed look like, kind of amorous fingernail scratches, except there's something that kind of hitches your attention, and you look a little closer, and while they do look like they were made with fingernails, you see just the barest bits of a pattern that kind of makes your blood run cold because you recognize some of it. It looks like there were very specific symbols that were scratched onto his skin, and they are most assuredly blood magic.
Can I detect magic? I'm just pouring
Sure.
over his body here and just making sure.
Sure. All right, so you cast Detect Magic and sort of look around. There is no active magic other than the things you all have on you. So there's a scattering of magic items, and I don't know that there are any active spells still going on, but you all, you pick up little auras of magic here and there, and you recognize pretty much most of
mage
them.
armor.
Yeah, there you go. That sort of deal. There is kind of a faint lingering trace on the body, and you can also detect a similar lingering trace in the middle of that burnt scorch mark where the rift to hell opened, and you suspect that's going to kind of leave a whiff for a while. So there's definitely some lingering conjuration magic traces there. And there's also a prickling sense of something hanging in the air. It's like cold needles scraping over your skin. It is unlike anything you've ever experienced before through Detect Magic, I believe. And it seems to mostly be hanging around the kind of calcified, dusty remains of the Horn Devil and a little bit on Glaz. And in fact, when you look over at Glaz, you can get us. What did you do with the lexicon, Glaz? Is it wrapped back up and? Oh, you wrapped it back up in like a towel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so it's put away.
Nothing
So
better because we haven't had a chance to go get the lead case made. For
so
you.
the nullifier's
remains of
lexicon
the
is put away.
The
so you
remains
don't
of
get
the
anything off that.
old calico that's covered it is just in ashes on the ground, isn't it?
The remains of the Horn Devil.
The old cloth.
the
Of the old
previous-
cloth.
the old
covers
cloth.
yeah.
The moldering fibers of the canvas he was using to wrap it. Yeah, you probably pick up lingering traces off of that as well, like fiberglass slivers under your fingertips as you kind of wave your hands over them.
Riordan would say blood magic. There's patterns there on his back, more than just a lover's quarrel, if you ask me.
Well, he must have frequented there.
No doubt, but
And you
In
know what?
turn,
It's
then,
late
it
at
was-
night.
well, it occurs to me that he may not be the only patron there as well. Could be that Ksinia found him there.
That
It could
is
be.
my concern. That Ksinia got to him. And how she found out that we were having this meeting between the two. It was not to target them, it was to target us, to target you specifically.
Well, as much as I hate making everything about me, it does all seem about me.
Oh, you liar. You don't hate it.
Well, I
Well,
mean, here's the thing. They're open right now.
Are we really wanting to go march in there right this second, especially if Ksina just conjured 3 devils for this meeting?
That took time. Okay, that
Agreed.
took a lot of time. That wasn't just like, oh look, I cast a spell on you. That was like a goddamn ritual. I mean, but it was blood magic, as far as I can tell. But that's all I really know.
Rituals like that take a lot of preparation and a lot of time. If it is anything like the magic that I know, then it would have taken at least a day, if not longer. I would suspect
Seems
more.
Right now, right now she'll suspect perhaps that we're dead. Or at least a few of us, maybe. She'll be at her weakest when she's at her most confident.
I can do some reconnaissance.
The last thing she'd expect is for us to walk right in there after she sent 3 devils after us.
Well, I would
because it would be the most
to...
reckless thing we could possibly do.
The most foolish, you'd be signing your own death warrant. Also, I would quite like to have a nap. I'm feeling...
You're dead. Didn't we address this? Do you need naps when you're dead? They say that you can rest when you're dead. I mean, is that what they mean? Like you can just sleep? Same as you would normally? That's rubbish.
You ask a lot of questions which I do not have the answers for, and that enrages me.
Well, I'm not the one setting the exam here. I mean, you sort of threw a curveball at us.
Well, why did you think I maybe did not want to tell you? It's like, oh, hello, I'm Rowan. I'm a Ravenfolk cleric. I'm also dead. Lovely to meet you.
I mean, a little bit of honesty. Wouldn't you say, guys? Is it just me? Is it just me?
Well, your friend Glaz seemed to... He cottoned on pretty early into our friendship, whatever this is. I'm not sure if you still want me around, honestly.
I did not mention it because it was not mine to mention.
But you did seem to insinuate that you were rather unhappy that I did not let you know sooner.
I was concerned that you were wondering if I was concerned about other people's lives. That I could have killed us all.
You could have.
No, in fact, I could not have. You have so little faith in me. Do you really think me so stupid to do something that would kill everybody here?
I have faith in your knowledge and in your intentions, but you trifle with things you do not understand, troll.
Oh, and you do. So please tell me all about it. Tell me everything you've learned about void magic while I've been studying it for the last 2 months. While I've been going through every tome in the library, while I've been talking to every person in town to research, to try to figure out where this came from. I understand it is very frightening, but magic, when it was first developed, was very frightening. Look at evocation. You can go back to the ancient writings when they were developing evocation, and everyone was saying, oh, it's too dangerous for anybody to be able to do these things. Now we throw fireballs like we're throwing darts over at the tavern. Conjuration. How do you think these got here? People do it every day
about to commit an act of unspeakable evil. Research is important first.
Void magic is not inherently evil, just like necromancy is not inherently evil, and just like a dead bird is not inherently evil.
No, I find the dead bird is actually quite delicious, but that's neither here nor there.
Gross.
Is that cannibalism?
What?
I eat chicken and smaller birds. I'm a corvid. What do you expect?
Have you not kinship, I guess, but
have you not seen ravens pick at the corpses of the poor deceased?
You're doing it now. Back to Glaz's point, which I feel also needs to be addressed.
Magic is inherently dangerous, yes, but the void is more than that. It corrupts you. You've gotten a taste for this power now. How long before you use it again? How long before you want to go and find the rest of the pages of your lexicon?
Oh, I would like to find the rest of the pages right now if I could. Because what you have heard before this is just the gibbering of people dabbling in this, what they do not understand. The lexicon is the guide. You have to understand, there is a deeper magic in this world than what most of the hedge wizards are using. You use it yourself, the rune magic. The blood magic that we are talking about, my geomancy, the clockwork magic that powers this city. It is a deeper magic than what we currently know. Void is just another part of that magic. Yes, it is scary, but I would postulate that it is what made the Ankashelians be so amazing in their craft. Yes, it is uncomfortable. It's not something that I wanted to use. I did not start using void magic all willy-nilly as soon as we had trouble. It was when we had to have it. Because yes, it is unnerving. It does not mix well with the physical world, but if you follow the rules, just like the rules of magic, the void can be harnessed, and harnessed not just for evil, but for good as well.
Now, I don't claim to be any authority on magic whatsoever. My powers come from elsewhere, and are largely due to my intense charisma. But does your professor at university, at the college, is he aware of this? Would they approve? I mean, everything I've heard of void magic has been in a very negative sense, but perhaps this is a matter of the new thing, you know, I don't know.
Is your darling paramour aware of your studies?
I am not even going to address that with a comment, because how dare you? How dare you even bring that up here? You think that I cannot hear you? Do you think that I do not hear with these giant Tolkien ears of you? Oh, sweet Summerglass is so innocent and so naive. Isn't he the most wonderful thing? For 10 years, I studied magic in Demia. To understand and to study magic is to look into the darkness of your own heart and decide what you want to do with that power. I looked into that darkness inside myself and decided to choose the light instead. And I choose to live my life in the light. And if I decide that I do not want to run around in the fuck house every night with a different person, or run up and talk to someone who I am interested in their studies, that is none of your business.
I know you are not naive. You have intense knowledge, deep knowledge of things, and a deep curiosity to understand the world. And that is my concern, not naivety. I've known your sort before. They've come to me for advice before. And their reckless want for knowledge is oft their undoing. It may have been mine as well. Well, not so different.
I might add that someone once told me over and over again that our actions don't just affect ourselves, but also our friends as well. So, you have my blessing to do whatever it is you want to do, Glaz. As long as the rest of us here are safe as well.
That is
it's natural for us to be concerned.
I appreciate your concern, and it is always my first concern to make sure that anyone is safe around any magic I use, including that of the void. I did not make that choice lightly. But I do not know about the rest of you, but I believe we were running out of time and running out of options.
Well, my question is what do you hear when you dabble with void magic?
Well, you access the void. It uses void speech, which we have heard before. That is...
No, that's not what I'm asking. You told me a long time ago, or not a long time ago, but whatever. When you listen to the ley lines, you hear a song.
Yes.
What song do you hear with the void?
The void does not sing the same way that the ley lines do. It is... I would say it is the silence before the song. Have you ever gone to a orchestra or a band or a show and there is a hush that falls across the crowd right before that first note is played?
Yes.
That is the void. It is the something that is nothing. It is the something that is waiting to become something more.
Well, with anything that I've seen from it, and this is as long as we had the tablets and how it affected other people, it will eventually consume you, and I don't think it can be something that can be harnessed even with the most studying. And I think that's the lure, especially when you're intelligent and understand the weaves of magic. And I've seen it, and I know. And I see the lure of it, and I see the power. And I see that you want to wield it for light. But I think what it comes down to is that you really have to make a decision. And it sounds like you pretty much made up your mind, and that's your decision, and I respect that. But just know that this is probably going to eventually eat you away until you're like that man who stood in front of the dark tree, the dark oak, the shadow oak. Yeah, that thing. The shadow crab.
The black oak.
The black oak, that one. Thank you, voice.
Well, is that not the nature of the void, to consume all light and all it sees?
I don't think anyone understands the nature of the void. I think it's something. I mean, the people who harnessed it before, something happened to them, whether history's correct or not. But I think I don't think we should presume anything. I think if Glaz has studied it and think he has a good handle on it and is not abusing it every 10 seconds, I mean, essentially, yeah. But it eventually will wear. It might even be like 100 years down the road before it drives him mad. I don't know, but it's Glaz's decision.
Well, since he
Plenty
wants
of evil
to
deeds have been committed in a noble intention, but I agree.
Definitely.
If you won't heed the words of the dead, then I leave it to you, Cloak. You
What?
watch over him. And when the time comes and he can no longer be of his own mind, then you will do what you must.
Oh, gladly, because I won't be Glaz anymore.
Also, I know how stab-happy you are.
During this entire exchange, Puff Puff is laying down next to Cloak and just kind of resting her chin on her paws, and her eyes are just kind of bouncing around to whoever's talking at the time.
Then at that point when we're kind of like all looking at each other, and I go down and I was like, Puff Puff, you want to go on an adventure?
Her ears perk up and she lifts her head and her tail starts to go.
And at this point, I would look at Glaz and it's like,
Can you bring that giant spear thing home so I can take it to Paula in the morning and melt it down and make a sword out of it and maybe armor?
Yes, I will. Giving Cloak a penetrating look.
And at that point, he would look at everyone and cast Pass Without Trace, his last second-level spell, get on Puff Puff. He cast it on him and Puff Puff, and they would stealth out the door.
Okay. Cloak and the Blink Dog head towards the stairs, and as they do, the sound of their footsteps just sort of gets swallowed by the little wisps of shadow that start to cling to them as they go, blurring the outline of their bodies. And as you make your way down and out of the silk scabbard cloak, your red cloak just kind of curls around your left wrist and tightens somewhat reassuringly.
Okay. Like it's warning me of something?
No, it feels almost like a caress.
Okay. Oh. Thank you, Cloak.
Or like someone squeezing your arm, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Cloak and Puff Puff make their way out. What are the rest of you intending to do here for the next stretch of time?
Glaz is going to go home and have a cup of tea and get some rest. He is tapped.
All right, so you're just basically all just looking to break and recoup from whatever the hell just happened.
Rowan's going to check it. It's going to take Riordan into his room and check in on him.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, Glaz, you gather up the devil spear and start making your way out. Riordan and Rowan, sure.
Since she did just, turn him into a berserker.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm wiping
probably
off the
still
paint
has.
and everything. I've got makeup wipes on my bedside table, so that's all good.
Little wedges.
These are exfoliating. What is it? Sorry, still coming down.
She's going to sit him down on the bed and start get some cloth and start wiping away the rune from him. Well, I wanted to make sure you were yourself, and
right.
I did not hurt you with that.
Oh no, I've had far worse. Thank you. No, I think it helped. Whatever it was, strange, but as Glaz was mentioning, I suppose whatever we need to do to get the job done.
You should not lose yourself as you have before.
Don't plan on doing that anytime soon. If anything, I feel like I've found myself again. Just in a slightly different sense, I suppose.
When you fought the devils, could you feel the presence of your Red Lady?
I think I could. Although she was different. More vengeful. I felt the same way.
She exacts her revenge through you.
I think so. And I think that it is my path now to accept that there are things out of my control that I need to fulfill for one reason or another. Ksenia, she has brought so much death and destruction. Not only my people, but now you and everyone else. It cannot go on any longer.
She also serves Mirena, doesn't she?
Correct.
But in the traditional way, I understand.
Different folks, different strokes,
How does it feel to have a goddess watching over you and the weight of, the world and of fate on your shoulders?
Darling, you speak very highly of yourself.
No. I mean you, and you have certainly proven yourself worthy of being the scion of Osprey.
I live to please, though I must admit that Janiel's return has somewhat complicated things for me. I never expected to see him again, and that's brought up a lot of familial grief. Times past.
I understand. I was once a young hatchling in love as well. Believe it or not.
Really? Now there's a story.
I would have
What were
been
they like?
attracted as far as birds go.
Fine set of feathers, I'm sure. Tell me about it.
All right, so you guys kind of spend some time settling in, talking to each other, getting to know that kind of deal. Okay, Rowan telling stories about your past and
Riordan
all of
definitely
that.
wants to hear the love story.
All right. So if you have a story you want to launch into there, you may, but otherwise we can just kind of fade that scene out there if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rather than trying to make up all the details on the fly. Rowan, I would say that this is probably this is a welcome respite for you after that rather harrowing ordeal you just went through. Kind of having the chance to go back through, reach into your past, pull those stories up and lay them out. It really helps you center and feel grounded again and really just kind of more solid and anchored and present, if that makes sense. So it's you maybe don't going into that little interaction, you don't necessarily twig to how much you kind of needed it, and then as it gets going and then after the fact you feel worlds better having gone through some of that and laid it out for Riordan. So we're going to flash over to Cloak. You said you were going on an adventure, Mr. Man?
Yes.
Where is Cloak off to in the dead of Zobek night?
So Puff Puff and Cloak are going to make their way to the book fetish. And
Okay.
we're going to break in.
Oh, dear Lord. All right. So the first thing that you're going to notice as you're heading out of the Silk Scabbard
This is so
is
good.
you see a contingent of City Watch. And it looks like they were on their way to the Silk Scabbard with weapons at the ready, and they were stopped in their tracks. And currently, you see them engaged in discussion with a older gentleman. You can't really get a good look at him because it's a good distance away. It's nighttime, so even with your dark vision, details get a little fuzzy. He appears to be an older human. Very well dressed. You can't make out much detail about the clothes beyond the basic cut and shape of them. You can see that he has got some longer facial hair that you would guess is probably gray, but again, color is becoming an issue for you. And it looks like he has stopped this contingent of soldiers, and they are just sort of listening deferentially to him. And basically by the time you kind of walk past and you're going kind of the other way, they're coming from the city center area and you're going up to the Collegium district. So you can see that the older man sort of holds his hands out, clasps the hand of the officer in charge of this contingent, lays a kind of a paternal hand on his shoulder, and basically dismisses them. And they start breaking from where they were going and heading back the way they came.
And I didn't hear anything they were talking about.
No, you were a decent bit away.
Okay.
You were kind of a block and a half away, and they weren't speaking terribly loudly, so you didn't catch anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's kind of breaking up, and for a moment it's like, oh shit, yeah, here come the cops. But then you're catching the tail end as this older man just sort of sends them on their way back the way they came.
I'm gonna remember that man's face.
As
I can.
as well as you can, sure. Why don't you go ahead and make me a wisdom perception check with disadvantage, just to see how well you can make out this, that, or the other.
Click disadvantage. Here we go.
Ooh, nice toss.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay, so I will make a note of that.
Okay. Cloak will remember this.
Cloak rolls a dirty 20 to remember this. Okay, so you head off down the street, and Puff Puff is kind of walking with a bouncy step, and her toenails click on the cobblestones and the sidewalk next to you as you guys make your way over the bridge into the college district.
They don't click now because we're pass without trace. So
that's right. You guys are passing without trace. So as you go, the magical lamps here and there, particularly as you get out of Lower Zobek and into the college district, there are those kind of continual flame street lamps here and there. They kind of flicker and dim and take on this bluish cold cast that creates these pools of shadow for you guys to slink through. And you make your way to the book fetish. You head to the alley and you look in and you see the kind of the large window with the gilt paint proclaiming the shop's name, and there is soft light spilling from inside. And you are approaching the store, and it looks to be open and in business.
Is there another way in? From the times I've been here?
So, you have not noticed another way in. You know that there's probably a back room behind that tapestry, but you don't know if it has any other sort of back entrance.
Is there anyone at the front desk?
You going up to the storefront?
I want to be able to peer in to see if anyone's there.
Yeah, so you head up and you look in, and yes, there are some people inside. You can see that Layla is behind the counter, and she is talking with a looks like a dwarf woman wearing scholarly robes, probably someone from the college. And she looks like she's directing her to one of the shelves, and you can see another person in there. You can't really see their face very well. They're seated at one of the little reading areas.
Okay. And is there some sort of bell or creak to the door?
There is a little bit. There's a little bell that tinkles whenever the door opens. Yep.
If you open it just right, will it not go off?
Well, it certainly would be easier since you have magic cloaking your presence and your movements.
So this is what I plan on doing. Puff Puff and I are going to sneak in and make our way past the desk clerk. The problem is the other people in the room would make it really difficult, I think. And that's why
You're spending some time watching. One of the people in the room looks pretty well engrossed in whatever they're reading or studying. So they're not paying a whole lot of attention to the rest of the room in general. And Layla is coming out from around the counter to go and direct the dwarf woman to one of the bookshelves.
Okay. I'm taking this opportunity to sneak on in.
All right. I'll just go ahead and snag the map for this real quick and see what I can figure out.
So my plan here, Dan, is to recon, and I'm not going to engage anything. That's why I'm splinter selling this.
Sure.
And doing the no kill playthrough.
Jesus. All right. We're doing a low chaos run here through Dishonored. All right.
Oh god, I can hear that alerted sound in my head right now.
Oh, and I don't know if we caught this or not because I was just away, but Bex donated £3 to give a crit success to Cloak. So thank you, Bex.
Ooh, delightful! Thank you so much. Thanks so much for the donation. So note that you have a nat 20 in your pocket, Cloak.
Okay. I will see if I need it for this.
Okay. Go ahead and make me a dexterity stealth check, and remember to add your +10 for. Ooh.
That'd be a 18.
18. So, thanks to the shroud of your magic, you and Puff Puff slip into the door. You pull the door open, and you sort of look up toward the bell, and your cloak reaches up and the corner of it wraps around the bell and stops it from making any noise. You slide inside and let the door click shut, and you just sort of quick step your way around the counter to the hanging crimson tapestry behind the wall, on the wall behind the counter. And you pull it aside just at the corner, and you can see that there is indeed a doorway leading into a back room.
Okay, I make my way.
Okay, you slip inside. Let's see here. I just had it, and I just put it away, because I am a foolish person, full of silliness. Right.
Like always going and ruining Dan's plans.
Oh, I'd live for this. All right. All right. So you slip into the back room. You see there are a number of cases in here. They have glass fronts, but they are heavy wood construction, and they're reinforced with iron and brass. And there is all kinds of interesting stuff in these cases. It ranges from books to scrolls to crystals to vials of liquid, some of which you can recognize as familiar-looking potions, others you don't recognize at all. Strange bits and bobs, esoteric-looking plants, minerals, powdered this, that, and the other in mortars and pestles and in glass jars. All kinds of strange things. Bits that look like things harvested from creatures or beasts. Okay.
I'm not going to... I pay a little mind to it, but I'm more looking... Is this room go on into further?
So it's not super huge, but there is... you notice that the doorway you slipped in through, it does in fact have a door, a very stout steel-reinforced door that happens to be open at the moment. A little bit of fortune seems to be on your side, because it looks like it has multiple... heavy locks on it that's just happened to be unsecure at the moment. And what's your passive perception?
My passive perception is... I had to look real quick. 14.
Yeah, I don't have the card handy. Okay, 14. You hear voices from back behind one of the shelves. You can hear the sound of two men talking, and it sounds like their voices are coming closer, like they're just kind of meandering from the back toward the area where you are.
Quickly, does the door lock from the outside or the inside? Like on my side currently, or the other side?
So it looks like if you were to close the door, the locks would be on the outside. But if you can't see the other side of it, there may be keyholes on the backside as well, or mechanisms to undo them.
On my side currently.
So the door is open. So what you're seeing is the door is the side of the door that would be facing out. So you can see two stout keyholes in this in the iron banding of the door. If you want to take the time to check on the backside, you could see what would be on the inside side of the door, the interior side of the door.
Okay. But the voices are getting closer right now?
Yeah. Not quickly, but there ain't a whole lot of distance for them to cover, so it isn't going to be long.
Then I am going to... it sounds like they're coming from the dark hallway.
So there's no dark hallway. It's basically, think of it as kind of a long room that runs back, kind of the length of this building that runs, toward... away from the little cul-de-sac alley where the entrance was. And it sounds like there's a lot of storage space back there. Maybe it's almost like a library stacks. Or a stock room shelves.
In conjunction of where I know the outside is, do I know where I am relatively, comparatively in the, am I by the outside street spot?
Just kind of the overall scheme of the building. I mean, you have an idea of where the alley side wall of the building would be, and what would take you toward the other side of the block and toward a street. Okay. Sure.
I make my way in.
Okay. Go ahead and make me another dexterity stealth check, please. And remember that your pass without trace is still running. Oh, sure.
That'd be 33.
So, there is the barest flicker of a shadow as you and Puff Puff, who kind of slinks low. She's almost belly crawling, but just high enough that she can still move with quick steps. You kind of just swoosh your way past one of the shelves around the other side, exactly as two heavily armored, beefy-looking individuals step out from one of the other corridors created by these rows of shelves. And they're kind of joking and talking with one another.
Do they look like guards of some sort?
Oh yeah, they're wearing splint armor. They have long swords and short swords belted at their waists, and they have. So they don't have any open insignia, but they have kind of like you can see a little bit of their knit or sort of. Thick wool underclothes on their armor. They have this very rich crimson red.
Okay. So they're guards for here.
Oh yeah.
I think that this is Chuck's. Never mind, not passive. Because I got urban,
Natural explorer urban.
So I thought there was something about me when I stealth, like I move at my normal rate. But
that's more for like travel. That's not so much combat speed. So if you were going across the city alley to alley without being without trying to be seen, you can actually move at normal pace to get from say one district to another.
Okay. All right. So I noticed.
Do they seem? Is there anything peculiar about them as they walk by me? Like, is there something about their teeth that I'm like? They seem.
Oh, do they look like vampires? Canine. Is what you're asking me? Go ahead and make me an intelligence investigation check, please.
Just getting straight to the point there.
Yeah. So I get double my proficiency. So this would be. I'm not trained in it, so I don't get anything to it, I don't think. Straight up 15.
15's good. All right, so they have kind of, they have good color. They don't seem very pallid. You don't notice any strange malformations or abnormalities of their teeth. They don't have any of that unearthly grace that the vampires you've encountered seem to have. Even the lowly spawn, there's something about the way they move that is just... at the same time creepy and beautiful. These guys don't have that. These guys are moving like battle-scarred veterans, and even though they're kind of joking and kind of just shooting the shit with each other, you can see that their eyes are just by habit scanning as they go, and it's a testament to your skill and your magical prowess that you are able to just in the space between blinks move where they weren't looking.
Also, I totally forgot the language I learned when I hit level 6.
Okay.
What was was it the Dracul language?
Yeah, you learned Darakul, I believe.
Darakul. Okay, let me get that in there.
Darakhul.
Are you gonna let me write it?
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Because you have learned of the undead.
Undead.
So, is there anything in particular you're looking for in here? Because you kind of have kind of the backside of the storage room to yourself for the moment. It sounds like those two guys are settling in near the front, and they're talking in hushed tones, so their voices don't carry out into the main store.
Secret entrances.
Okay,
I'm looking because I'm like what Cloak is thinking is that like if these people are part of it, right? And they did this ritual, they wouldn't do it in the normal shady like fuck area. They would have another ritual area they would do it in. Because he knows.
Sure. So
you guys want to do this in a shitty fuck area? No. No.
Let's step it up.
No, those squares that this area will fucking
We're better than this, guys. Come on, we're better.
We planned for this when we were scouting real estate locations. Come on.
What?
All right.
Got the room with all the velvet out the back. It's perfect.
You take kind of You take kind of a quick scan around the backside of the room while you have the cover of those guys over on the front, and you don't find any obvious entrances. And it looks like most of what's held back here are books, but then there is all those other weird bits and things. So your passive perception is a 14. If you want to make an active perception check, you can go ahead.
And I get double my proficiency, what is my proficiency right now? Is that +3?
So that you're talking about for favored terrain? That is to make checks kind of related to your terrain. So that would be maybe knowing things about the city, finding secrets about the city itself, not necessarily finding a secret door. Maybe knowing about like a hidden entrance to the cartways, that sort of thing.
I just found a really cool trick. Apparently, if you hold the dice and right-click, it multiplies the dice, where you can just do that.
It does, yeah. 107. All right,
we've been playing for like 2 years.
I didn't. I accidentally right-clicked, and I just found that out. Okay, so here's my roll. 16.
All right, 16 is a good toss. So you are pretty well convinced that there is no secret door of any kind back here. And Puff Puff is kind of backing you up a little bit. And in fact, I should have given you advantage on that because Puff Puff is assisting, but the 16 is sufficient, so we won't worry about it.
Okay.
And she's kind of sniffing around, and you can see that she's definitely picked up the scent of those two guards, and she's kind of keeping an eye over toward them. And she goes up to the walls and kind of paws at it a little bit and is helping you search. Between the two of you, you're fairly certain there are no secret doors or anything like that back here.
Okay. So this is the weird. What other like things are in this room? There's like, is this the same room with the weird baubles or?
Yeah. So like I mentioned, there's looks like potions and scrolls and what must be strange esoteric spell components, that sort of thing. Yeah, so these are kind of rare spell components, potions, scrolls, the tomes and books that Layla referred to as keeping kind of in the special collection. That must be back here. You're seeing a lot of those books. You do catch sight of a couple of books that have strange mystical symbols on them, and you suspect that they might be wizard spell books. You see in one case you see two strange looking it looks like they were they're probably carved radius or ulna bones from a humanoid, probably an adult humanoid of some kind, and you can see they have strange etched symbols in them, and they're sitting in little like cradle holders. They look like wands. They have like leather wrapped around one side of them.
Is it like what Rowan has?
Like what Rowan has, like the rune stones that she has.
Yeah, she has like the bones. She's like, "Oh, Grampy bones," and then like throws out.
Great. No, that's a deep cut. All right, no, no. These look like wands made out of a human's arm bones.
What are wands?
Like magic wands that have spells coded into them.
What the fuck is going on back here? Okay,
Wingardium Leviosa. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that if this was in Harry Potter, I'd be like, I don't want that Elder Wand, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, where do they do the weird bondage stuff to people?
That's a lovely question. It does not appear to be back here.
Yes, I would also like to know this for reasons.
Because of reasons. You recall that Layla told you that they have an annex that she referred to as the Temple of Painful Pleasures.
Okay. What I'm going to do, there's a wizard's book.
Possibly.
Is there anything in the language I understand, and that would?
Sure. There are titles written in trade tongue in common, and it looks like a lot of the books don't actually have titles on the spines. Some of them do. It looks like a lot of things like memoirs. There's names that you don't recognize, but might be important to people in the right scholarly pursuit.
Yeah.
You see certain things that are most assuredly some sort of holy text to Morena, the Red Goddess. Those books seem to be made of a very strange kind of special leather. You're pretty sure you see a nipple on the spine of one of them.
Oh. So, with that
They're
being
dyed
said,
red.
with them worshiping Morena, and like the book is not like carved up or like anything like that, because they're after Riordan for being a worshiper of Morena, correct?
Who's they?
The vampire lady.
As far as you know, yes. The Cosinia is after Riordan. Yes.
And it might be some throne shit too, but he doesn't know. He doesn't understand that shit. What he's going to do, and there's nothing else of valued back here.
You surmise that the value in these cabinets is pretty damn high, but they are all locked.
Yeah, and I'm not here to steal anything. I'm going to wait for the guards to kind of like turn around and like start like walk away a little bit and then sneak by them, and then make my way towards the annex if I can find it.
Okay. So while you're waiting, I'm going to go ahead and just keep your same perception check you made before. You catch snippets of their conversation, and one of them mentions the temple. And as you listen, they have a chuckle over someone who was apparently trying to get in, but it must have been their first time because they didn't get the password right, and they tried to hand the coin to him with the wrong hand. And they both have a good laugh over that.
Oh, do I have a coin she gave? Oh, wait, I still have that platinum piece.
You go digging around, and you have a platinum headsman, one of the platinum mint coins of Zobek. Yeah.
Shit. Can I recall anything about what Layla said? I thought she said something about handing them a coin. In the book, did it say anything about that? The book.
So the notes were pretty sparse, and they didn't say anything about that. But you listening to these guys chuckle about it, you basically hear them sort of joke about the entry password, and the entry deal. So they expect you to apparently, whoever's working the door of the temple, someone will offer them the headsman coin with their left hand.
Okay.
And you know that the headsmen are kind of a specific mint. There are other mints of platinum coin around, and the headsman is kind of a rare, less found one. It's sort of like coins that are kind of out of circulation, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of an older mint, so there aren't too many. They aren't just sort of around, and not too many people walk around with platinum for spending cash.
Yeah. Okay, so I would totally take that information, know that I have the hand with my left hand. I don't know what the significance of that is. Do they mention where the temple is? Or I don't imagine they would, but just an offshoot.
So they don't mention specifically where it is. You also, with your check, catch another crucial detail of the coin thing. It has to be handed over with the axe side facing up. So left hand, axe side up. That's kind of like the password.
Okay. Then I'll take that. I note that down. The X side has.
Go ahead and go ahead and make me a wisdom insight check.
I will do that. At a 10.
A 10. All right. So they don't mention specifically where the temple is, but you get the feeling that it's close by.
Okay. I mean, they're guarding in this room, but there's no entrance, and
So that, I mean, with them here and your insight check, they are clearly guarding. They are guarding this room and the valuables in it.
Okay. So as soon as I can, I make my way out with all that info.
Okay, so you've got stealth for days here. As they kind of drift to another part of the room, they get their conversation kind of winds down, and they start to kind of amuse themselves a little bit. They go check various cases and stuff, just kind of mindlessly making their security guard rounds, and they leave you an open path to the door. You head up to the tapestry and take a peek out, and I'm gonna roll a die here real quick. And you can see Layla just walks out from behind the counter, like right in front of you, around, and she crouches down on the far side on those display cases, kind of opposite the door, and opens the glass sliding cabinet door and starts messing with things, like rearranging stuff.
Okay, I want to sneak by to the other annex area.
So you basically have a clear path to the door at this point.
Okay.
Yep. So you can slip on out.
Is there no other spaces here?
Not in the room that you can see. No.
Okay. Was there another hallway? I thought there was another hallway.
Nope.
Maybe I'm just making that up in my head.
You're making that up in your head.
In my head, and comparatively to how big the building is, the schematics seem correct for what? So I was in the building. I know everything that's laid out. Compared to the outside, does that seem appropriate?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And then I would sneak out, and then I would do a stakeout, sort of, and then stake out someone or Layla or someone who works there that I know that works there and follow them.
Okay. So are you waiting to see someone coming to, leaving from? You said you're staking out Layla. You're waiting to follow her when she leaves?
Well, how long is she going to be there for? Is she going to be there till wee hours in the morning?
I mean,
someone who looks...
You don't know her schedule. If she's working the shop then it's going to be probably till about dawn.
Because I don't have a lot of time. I just want to...
Yeah. So your pass without trace at this point is about up, because it only lasts an hour.
Okay, yep, then I totally make my way home.
Okay, no problem.
With that info.
You head on home. So I'd say at this point in the night, Glaz, did you go pretty much straight home and into bed?
Yeah, because I mean, for mechanical reasons, he needs a long rest.
Yeah. He's
and he's also tired, and he used void.
Exactly. He's beat. He's beat.
He knows that there are rules for using void, and so he is going home to sleep it off.
Sleep it off, yeah. And honestly, you're just fucking beat, right? You've been injured. Your mouth and head are killing you. Your lip is split. It stopped bleeding, but it still aches. You have just the worst headache right behind your right eye. Just the kind that you can feel it pushing forward. It's just nasty. So yeah, you get home, you kind of just shuck whatever outer clothes, crawl into bed, wrap yourself.
Make a cup of like chamomile tea or something. Just something sort of calming.
Yep. And pour yourself into bed. So Cloak, when you get back to the house, you can hear Glaz snoring a little bit. I don't know if he snores normally. That's up to you.
So you can, big old tusk.
Yeah, sure. All right, so you hear him snoring like a meth-fueled Umber Hulk tearing through bedrock.
I imagine he's like this, right? He's like beautiful night.
No problem. So you head in, and it sounds like he might be sleeping a little fitfully. Like his snores kind of snort and start a little bit, and you might hear like a soft mumble, but then he goes back to snoring. So you and Puff head in and set yourselves up and just kind of pour into bed. Glaz, You maybe finish half your cup of tea before it just, I mean, the bed, you can feel the gravity in it grabbing at you and just pulling you in. And you forget the second half of your tea that's going to be cold and sad and nasty in the morning. And you just sort of tangle yourself into the sheets and just pass out into this blissful unconsciousness. And you find yourself standing. It's hard to say. You don't really see or feel anything, just in this kind of blackness. It's pressing in all around you. It's cold, but not uncomfortably so. It's empty. And there's just nothing. It's dark. You get the sense, the feeling, the impression of swirling smoke or mist, though you can't really see anything. It's almost like the darkness somehow is swirling in front of your eyes.
Does it remind me all of like where I met Kari, like in the shadow realm?
No. That place was a realm of perpetual twilight and this
It's dark.
leaden charcoal overcast. But it was dark, but it wasn't like this. This is a bizarre combination of nothing but full.
Okay.
It's really trying to it's difficult to wrap your mind around, and it takes a little bit to you realize. So it kind of starts out with that feeling when you're having a dream, but it's like it's not you. It's like you're observing someone else,
Right.
and then slowly you get the feeling of yourself being there, and along with that feeling of presence, there is another feeling of presence kind of over your shoulder, and you hear a voice and it speaks, and there's a strange double-toned echoey quality to it, and it says, Glazishin, there you are.
Well, he sort of nods his head. So this is the void, or a representation?
There's kind of a lingering pause, and you start to be able to, it's almost like you can see, you still can't, but it's like you feel like you can. It's very strange. And you sort of look over, and there is the definite, distinct feeling of a silhouette next to you. Mm-hmm. You can't really make anything out about it. It's vaguely humanoid. It's definitely a male voice, but it's very hollow and strange, echoey. And it's silent for a moment, and then it says, I don't think so. I think we would know if this was the void. But perhaps it's close enough.
I was going to say that most everything I read made it out to be much, much worse, and I was a little bit, grateful that it was not, ripping and shredding and being torn asunder by all the little bits and pieces that make up people and things. So,
I've been trying to find you for some time, but I haven't been able to see you until now. It's nice. I haven't seen anything or anyone for a while now.
And why is that?
Not since you killed me. And that kind of echoes around you. Killed me, killed me, killed me.
Okay. So,
as inconvenient as it was, I don't bear you ill will. I understand why you and your friends did what you did. And for what it's worth, I'm sorry about the Dampier.
Well, I will forward your condolences. So,
if you think that's wise.
Probably not. But so there is very, very little, as I bet you know, actual talk. There's more rumors and innuendo and side stories about the void magic and touching the void. Things that I am digging for and hoping to make connections on, but evidence is hard to come by, as I'm sure.
You will find the way forward difficult. I'm certain you already have.
Yes, though your pages certainly helped. They give order where there can never possibly be any, but with time it begins to make sense.
Help!
As much sense as it can.
Yes, they do that. I was forced, and it sounds like there's this wistful kind of quality to his voice, like he's trying to remember and having difficulty. I was forced to push harder and draw more than I would have liked. I think it's because the pages are incomplete. If I had them all, it would have been very different. Oh well. Such is life, I suppose. Such is death.
Yes. You can't leave something like that just hanging there to a scholar, you know, and I bet you do know. Do you know where the rest of them are?
I heard you tonight. I heard you clearly for the first time. It's how I was able to find my way here, wherever here is. I don't know where the rest are. And there's like this edge of irritation to his voice when he says that. It was all I could do to find those 2 pages. But I have heard an echo since he pauses as if he's thinking about what to say next. Death. I've heard an echo. I suppose that your companions have been at you if they know you are speaking the words of the utter dark?
Yes, they do not. They have every right to be worried. It is a worrisome thing.
Of course it is, and they are ignorant. They don't understand.
They are worried.
And they are right to be. They should fear it.
However, I could tell. At first I thought there was only the 2 pages. I did not realize it was a piece of something more.
No, those are mere fragments of a greater tome.
When you were doing your studies, is it truly the work or the discovery of the Ankashelians that they wielded the void for benefit instead of just destruction? I know it seems to be the stuff of creation, but can creation occur without destruction as well?
Now we're getting into it, aren't we? Ancient Ankashel, lost so long beneath the waves, who knows what secrets they kept. I found some of them in my searching. In the west, in the dust, amongst the bleeding ley lines and broken roads. Only whispers, though. Only ever whispers.
To the west. Speaking of the west, what was your purpose in moving the walker? What possible purpose could that have? Probably safer there than in the middle of the elven forests, but...
It won't remain there for long. I shudder to think how it might behave once it returns to whence I drew it. Hopefully it will remain as it was, but I doubt it. They are unpredictable. They are unknowable. Don't try it. To attempt to know them will snuff your mind out like a candle in a hurricane.
I understand.
Tell me, Glazishan, what would you do to save those you love? To save yourself in the process?
Who can say what they will do when that time comes? I know I would like to think. I'd like to think that even if it took me sacrificing myself, that I would help the greater good.
I'm not talking about the greater good. I'm talking about the people you love. They aren't always the same thing. You can't afford to be naive.
Yes, but you should know who you're dealing with. You see, I would sacrifice the people I love as well, if it was for the greater good.
You get the sense of a smile just over your shoulder, kind of like next to your ear. And then the next words come to you in a whisper. Then I think, I pray, you might understand me after all. There's one in Zobek who might understand the void without fearing it. I think you know who it is. Seek them out if you want to know more. He knows of the thief who found these 2 pages. I hope we'll speak again, but I can't promise it. Nothing is certain. Nothing is certain. And you startle awake, staggering and gasping, and you sort of sit up with this cold, aching feeling in your muscles and your joints, and you don't really feel rested. The headache's gone at least. And you kind of stagger and get your disoriented bearings and try and figure yourself out. It looks like you've been asleep for a few hours, so there's a little bit more night left at least. And it's up to you to decide if you can manage to get back to sleep at that point or whatever you do.
As I often do, he will find the cold tea, and even though it's cold, we'll probably drink it just almost kind of out of, well, this is better than not drinking it. And he will think on what he just dreamed and then take a moment and listen to the song that has given him comfort since he was a boy, and listen to the music of the ley lines.
You hear the deep, resonant, melancholy strains of the Shadow Road sort of echoing under your door and from the shadows under your bed.
And I think tonight he feels more connected to that melancholy of the Shadow Road than he probably ever has, and lets it sort of lull him back to sleep.
All right. So you're able to finish your sleep and your long rest, and you can all wake the next day feeling refreshed with all of your features and slots recharged, all of that lovely good stuff.
Class, you're grounded.
You all don't know what I was dreaming?
He didn't do anything.
None of us had any weird dreams, did we?
An intense dream.
So
After exposure
you guys, the rest of you had You probably had very disturbing dreams. They were full of struggles and fear, things chasing you, you struggling and not being able to do whatever it is you're trying to do. I'll let you kind of fill in the details for what that would be for your own characters. If it'd be vague, if it would be, trying to actually fight something and just never being able to land a full strength punch. Those horrible nightmare twists on the things we try to do, trying to run away from something and feeling like you're moving through invisible jello. You have disturbing, unsettling dreams, but they're not enough to disturb your rest.
Cloak would have a dream where he fights grandmother over and over, and every time she kills him and eats his bones while he's alive. And then as soon as he completely dies, he wakes up and relives the fight over and over and over and over and over.
That's on brand.
The scariest thing for Rowan would be not dreaming at all.
Then your dreams are empty and you wake up with no memory of the intervening time since when your eyes fluttered closed. And it's a little disorienting. For a moment, you're not sure that you actually did sleep. Maybe you just popped back awake, but no, it's morning.
And Riordan dreams of Ksenia. At first, it's like I guess it's replaying the scene, the nightmare scene. Oh no, it crashed. Well, nope. The nightmare scene in the tavern room when she begins to like claw him apart. So I think he's just playing that over in his dreams.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's fun. And uplifting.
You guys have some good dreams. How'd everyone sleep?
I think Rowan just fell asleep on Riordan's floor. I don't think she would have bothered going back to the dancing bear.
Oh, all right. Yeah. You wake up and there's a pile of rags and feathers over in your corner. For a ghost, she seems like she sleeps pretty normally. It's a little weird.
Give her a little shove awake. Morning.
Is it morning?
Yes, it has been for a while now. I did not sleep well.
No, neither did I. So sleep is a relative
Well, yes, time to get up and see what trouble Cloak managed to get himself into last night.
Oh, right. He left, didn't he?
Yes, and I didn't get woken up on the way back in, so hopefully he's back and not suffering some dreadful fate while the rest of us all sleep away.
I assume you came back to our place, right?
Yep.
I did because...
Yeah, oh, you saw me, that's right. You saw me
I wake up like crack dawn like I normally do. Puff, and Cloak is standing on the end of your bed, and he's like, come on, we gotta go.
Oh, Jesus.
Good morning.
He's like one of those sleep paralysis demons.
Oh, God.
No, that fucking Twitter thread still haunts me to this day.
Yep, same.
I'm gonna go get a fedora now.
Are we not going to get some breakfast from this kettle whistle?
Oh, we can do that later.
He looks at you slyly. You promise?
Yes. We have errands to
Puff
run.
Puff, is he lying to me? I look at Puff Puff.
She
You want
she
some
looks at
sausages,
you.
don't you? Sausages?
It just kind of licks her chops, and then does like the little doggy prance when you start talking about sausages.
Miss Kettle Whistle, she makes waffles and sausages.
So you guys getting breakfast?
I'm
What
aware. Are you trying to convince me?
Well, yeah, you'll certainly have breakfast.
Is she? It doesn't smell like she's cooking breakfast.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, let's go eat now, and then we go on errands.
Sure. You guys go have a lovely, wonderful, filling breakfast.
I guess we meet up.
Rest of you. Yeah. You'll meet up eventually.
Actually, no.
No.
What are you up to?
Me.
I cast pass without a trace and I'm gone.
After we have breakfast, I take Glass, Puff Up, and I to the demon. What's the demon club name? Their hangout.
The Broken Seal.
Oh,
the Broken Seal. Yeah.
I
make my way.
Yeah, it's the Broken Seal.
I make my way to the Broken Seal.
Okay.
What are you doing? Why are we here?
You're going for breakfast. They have deviled
I was
eggs.
going to say, I look.
All right. So, minor correction from the last time we did the Broken Seal. I actually managed to find a little bit of a bigger write-up on it. So it's actually not on the waterfront of the main docks district. It's out on the gullet, that island, that long banana-like island where all of the docks themselves are, and a bunch of warehouses and the like. It's out on that island, and it's there's a slate hanging above the entrance, and the entrance is actually a stairway down by the side of the building. It's a basement door entrance, not a street level entrance. But other than that, everything else the same. So you guys head to that old stone building, and it's got the old kind of tar smeared wood timbers and the fading, crumbling stucco on between the timbers, and that sign is sort of swinging in the river breeze with those eerily authentic magical glyphs and circles marking it.
Why are we coming here without Riordan and Rowan?
We're here to get information.
And why are we getting information? I hold up a mirror. No, I'm just like, have you met you?
I'm a pretty honest guy. I don't know what you guys think. I don't know why you think I say anything else.
Well, first,
and I just go open the door.
Glass is like starting to list off. He's like, let me get up my list.
All right, so the
scroll unveils.
For the fit rolls down the stairs. Yeah. So you guys head inside. Glaz kind of like sputtering his list as he follows after you, kind of holding up his finger, not really sure how to approach this. You head inside. It is open. It is not busy at all. That ancient, sort of translucent skinned tiefling is behind the bar with those blood red eyes and the shark-like teeth. And he is basically sitting on a stool with his arms crossed, and he's leaning back against the wall, and his eyes are closed, and his chin is tucked down against his chest. And you can see his tail is sort of wrapped around one of the legs of the bar stool, and the tip of it is sort of twitching back and forth.
Is anyone else here?
You don't see anybody else in the common room at the moment, no.
Okay, I walk up to the bar, I'm like, good morning!
So he doesn't start or jump or even really react for a couple of lingering seconds, and one of his eyes just sort of peels open. You can almost hear the sticky squelch as the that kind of deep red eye with no pupil peers out from behind it. And he says, "No, I recognize you."
Yeah, it's Mia here. Or Mia's boss.
Wait, was that blue tiefling? What was the blue tiefling's name?
I was gonna say he kind of narrows his eyes at you for a moment. Nemea.
Nemea
here. He kind of slowly peels open his other eye and looks around, and then kind of looks back at you and just shakes his head.
Nemea's boss here.
Valis? You are looking for Valis?
Yeah.
Is Valus expecting you?
No.
He kind of snarls and his top lip pulls back from his shark teeth. Sit. Wait. And he kind of creakily unfolds himself from the bar stool behind the counter, and as he moves, his tail is still wrapped around the leg of it, and it drags it a few inches across the floor before his tail kind of slowly uncurls and leaves it behind as he's kind of starts shuffling painfully like old broken man walk across the bar toward the back.
Cloak, what are you
Yeah, and it's like, we need information. I'll explain that in a little bit.
And he like sits on the thing and he like pats the stool next to him, looking at Glaz.
And he's like, so,
He said,
So, a few minutes later, unless you guys have,
in that meantime,
like if you guys want to talk or something, that's fine. Yeah.
So he looks at Glaz and he's like,
so, you know, you have those tablets, right? So
Yes.
why do you think that is a good idea?
well, I think it is a better idea than to have them out in the world. I also believe that we are up against bigger things than we know, and we are going to need all the help that we can get.
and you see Cloak think about that for a second and he nods.
And he's like, you know, I've noticed that you've been narrowly looking at me, especially after last night.
Well, yes. You lied to
Well-
me. You lied to me twice, right to my face when I asked you what you were doing and then still didn't tell me.
Do you want to know the truth?
I would very much like to know the truth.
So, do you know grandmother?
I have heard of Baba Yaga, yes.
Do you know, and this is something you can never tell anyone.
So and he like leans in and he sees no one's around and he in hushed tones talks to Glaz.
And he's like, so, some time ago, a deal between Nihheim and grandmother went bad, where she was hunting down our people and eating them repeatedly over and over. And, you know, it wasn't a good time. So to counteract that, we made a deal. Like you are using, you know, fight fire with fire, I suppose you say. You have your void magic, and I think you would understand this. But long story short is that we made a deal with devils. And that deal requires that we make a sacrifice per month. I very much went and I had to sacrifice someone yesterday.
Was it yesterday?
It was
Yeah, Jesus.
yesterday.
Yeah,
Yesterday morning.
Yesterday.
So, yeah, yesterday morning when I left, I went and I sacrificed someone to protect my village.
Glaz just sort of stares at him.
So as you understand, I mean, you sacrifice yourself as you use that, and it deteriorates you, and you use to justify your means. That's how it goes. I understand where you're coming from, and that's what I grew up around.
Why does no one... First thing, wow. Wow. I need to file that away and think about that for a moment.
The implication of what he just told you is that the entirety of the 9 cities of Nîmheim have essentially all made an infernal pact, and they apparently have to, in some way, make some sort of monthly sacrifice to the archdevils.
Yeah,
Also, how many months have I known you? Yeah.
Yeah, the Glaz is going through all of that. He kind of needs to let me put a pin in. He's like, I need to put the pin in that, and we will. Wow.
I mean, comparatively, void magic. I mean, probably older and worse comparatively to sacrifices. I don't know.
Well, here is the thing, and this is what no one will believe me, and I keep trying to tell you. And I know you all think, oh, I'm corrupt, and I've taken the void into my heart, and it's now black, or something terrible like that. There are texts. And in fact, this text has some of this, but that the ancient stories tell of the creation of all of existence by means of a spoken word that spun the reality out of the void. These words of creation, yes, they are powerful. They are very powerful. But just as light creates shadow, creation does also cause destruction. That is what we are talking about. Here is the thing. Yes, if I were to bring out the lexicon and start casting void magic willy-nilly, it would get into me. There is no way I would become corrupt. I would become tainted by it. Eventually, my flesh would warp because of the forces that are unleashed. But there, just like anything, I spent a decade studying endemia. We have rules by the minute sometimes that you must follow. You must learn. 10 years I was there. I was the only Trollkin. And everybody wanted to catch the Trollkin doing something wrong, get them kicked out, get them taken back into the swamps to go collect herbs. 10 years. I learned how to do every little piece of things, even the things that some of the elders did not still do. Endemia. That is what void magic is. It is a narrow path. It is a complicated path. It has rules. And I will tell you, we are not the only people looking for it. That is my belief.
Oh, that's very true.
And then he stands up and he puts his little gnomish hand on Glass's giant shoulder, and he looks him in the eye and he's like,
I never thought you were corrupt or anything like that, and I know the necessary to have power, and especially in a world like this. But the only thing I do know is that no matter how knowledgeable you are, if you know everything about it, and it still will always have a price. And I know that firsthand because this cloak has the blood and soul of my mother within it, because she died trying to protect us. So everything has a price. It doesn't matter if you know a lot, and I know you know a lot, and I'm not going to say you're going to become corrupt, but one way or another, you have to pay your due. And I'm not going to judge you.
His hand on your shoulder, Glaz, and you've seen Cloak fight enough that he uses his cloak like a duelist's half cape, almost like a shield, whipping it around, blocking blows, spoiling game. So his cloak always kind of wraps around his left wrist, and you can see the hem of it kind of crawls around and over the back of his hand that's laid on your shoulder.
Yes. I cannot say that there's a price. It might be a price that I'm not even aware of yet.
Well, I mean, all I say is, you're aware of it, but I'm not judging you. You're my friend. One of my, Riordan's, I don't know what Riordan is. He is my friend, but he's like my weird, let's go do fucked up shit friend. But, that's beside the point. I mean,
fair.
So, I mean, you know what? If you are going to do it, then do it and own it and embrace it. But, just that's what I want to let you know. I understand where you're coming from.
Yes. And I thank you for that. And I guess we will see where these paths that we have put ourselves upon will take us. So,
All right.
you were speaking.
So as you guys
I got one quick
kind
thing.
of. Oh, sure. Go ahead.
You were speaking very knowledgeably about infernalism last night after the demons. Incredible amount of knowledge. I assume
Devils.
it is devils. Sorry. Oh, I thought it was infernalism is what you called it. Did I say demons? I'm sorry. Anyway,
You said
infernalism. Yeah, infernalism. I assume that is where your knowledge came from.
And infernal, I go,
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you speak Infernal, class?
I do not, but that answered my question, which was,
Yeah.
I assume that was infernal?
Oh, yeah. Also, I was the guy that did the thing and the carved hat.
That was my next question.
Right at that moment, the door to the back opens.
I give him another, wow. Wow, Cloak.
So, in that moment, the door to the back opens, and the ancient-ass tiefling and the flowing, locked, beautiful smile, chiseled jaw form of the human Valus come out. So, how do you react as Cloak reveals that, and then these guys show up at that very moment?
I think it's the wow. But
Yeah.
in comparison to this morning, it's just kind of like, oh, and here's the
It's like,
people
okay, yeah,
who-
sure, why not? Yeah. Okay. So Valus comes over and holds out his hands and says, "Good morning, friends. It's wonderful to see you. I'm overjoyed to see that you're both well."
Oh, yeah, no, we're
Like-
fine.
Quite the night last night.
Good. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I got an interesting note from Van Dessian late last night. It seems that all of you survived. Very happy about that.
Oh,
And
except
he
the-
seems like not ashamed at all that he and his people just pieced the fuck out immediately.
and Cloak is not judging them.
So what is it?
yeah,
What is it that we can do for you?
What?
Do you know of a place called the Temple of Painful Pleasures?
Oh, he kind of gives you like a oh yeah look, and he's like, oh, I've heard of it. Sure.
And then he pulls out a vial of demon blood, and he's like,
Is this enough for to get that information?
Devil blood.
This is the horn devil blood.
and I toss it over to him.
He quickly snatches it out of the air and sort of just takes a moment looking at it. And as you're both watching, there's this wavering, staticky flicker, and his human guise kind of flickers out for a couple of frames and then back in. And for that moment, you can see the big, bellied, fat, scarified, sort of mauve-skinned tiefling with the antlers that have been kind of trimmed short, and then the illusion reasserts itself. He says, well, so you want to know where the Temple of Painful Pleasures is, or something more difficult to discover?
Well, where it is there something more difficult to discover there?
Well, that's up to you, I suppose, and whatever you want to know. I mean, I think I know where the door to the temple is, if that's what you want to know. And he looks down at the vial in his hand, and he looks back at you and sort of sighs. I owe you that much at least.
I just need to know where the door is. If you have any warnings about the place, I'd appreciate it. But, that's whether you want to disclose that or not.
I mean, warnings about the place depends on what your interest is and why you're there. I mean, if you know anything about it, then you probably know all you really need to know, and if you're going in, then have fun.
Well, mainly, I
think whichever flavor is your preference, I don't judge.
We have reason to believe that those 3 devils, the ritual that summoned them into your midst, threatening your very lives, occurred within that place, using blood magic.
So his eyes grow hard, and his brow furrows, and his eyebrows pinch together a little bit. He's like, now I think we're getting into the territory of something more interesting we might be able to use this blood to discover. If you just want to know where the temple is, if you want to know where the temple is, I can tell you where the fucking door is. That's no problem. It's in the alleyway behind the book fetish. Enjoy.
Okay.
I know the book fetish is in an alleyway. There's another one. It's small. You'll find it if you're looking for it. It's no problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know they won't just let you in the door. That's on you to figure out. I've never really been in there myself, but I know there's a rigmarole you have to go through to get inside. It's a secret club. All the nobles go there to spank their mistresses and get their groins stomped on when they're in a mood, whatever.
But you found out the information we needed before with your seers. Could this demon blood that was summoned trace us back to, even better, who summoned it and where they might be?
If you want more information about that summoning, I think the blood of one of the creatures that was conjured... Yeah, I think I can probably do that.
Sweet.
All right, get the hell out of my bar. It's going to be a while. I'll send word when it's done.
Send the mean.
Thank you.
And then he just marches out the door.
Her name is Nemea. He kind of calls after you.
Don't get mad at me. I'm terrible at names. No.
Glaz shakes.
I am not mad at McLoken. It's no problem.
Yeah, Valis shakes Glaz. I'm Glaz. Glaz shakes Valis. It's like, it was nice having business with you again. At some point, I'd like to talk to you about the runes and the glyphs that you have carved into your skin. Goodbye now.
Yeah, he's kind of like looking at the vial, like Belloc looking at the idol as the natives are chasing Indy off into the into the jungle, and he's like, yeah. And he sort of wanders off toward the back room.
Well, that was not ominous at all.
Okay, so he will be on that.
And we're going to meet up with everyone else like we didn't go on our own little adventure just now.
Sure, no problem. So as you guys are on your way back to the Silk Scabbard, Rowan and Riordan, you guys get yourselves together. You can have kind of a light breakfast. You know, the Silk Scabbard doesn't do like a huge, heavy, and you know, it's not a greasy spoon or anything like that, but it has a few things you can eat. So you can break your fast a little bit. So where have you been putting Janielle up? At this point, I'm going to say that Kaja has basically just kind of given him a room at the Silk Scabbard at the moment. Yeah. But he's definitely just sort of living in a hotel at the moment, right? You guys had talked about finding him a place to live. So that's something to keep in mind. You didn't have to put him up last night. That's fine. So when you guys are finishing breakfast, Tyron, the owner of the Silk Scabbard, in his resplendent, he's wearing this sort of rich purple velvet doublet and kind of a matching cap. He's not wearing his big old kind of felt overcoat that he was wearing before. He's got rings on every finger. He's basically wearing wealth at the moment, kind of like he likes to do. He always dresses to the nines. He comes over. He comes over to your table, kind of claps his hands together, and he says, "So, I hope you don't mind me interrupting very briefly. I just wanted to thank you for the assistance that you rendered last night. I shudder to think what would have happened if you weren't here, and that happened, and that all occurred. You may have heard me saying that I had contracted specialists for just such an occasion, and I am Very much a man of my word. So he reaches into his inside his doublet, and he pulls out a folded and sealed piece of parchment. He places it on the table, slides it across to you, and he says, "With my compliments and those of my investor." And he kind of offers you a little terse smile, turns, and walks away.
Well, you should probably open it.
Why not? And
You're the regular patron, or were.
Yeah, we get a little letter opener and flick it open.
Okay, so you break open the seal. The seal stamped into the wax is sort of like a coin in sort of like a 45-degree angle, like kind of tilted on its side, right? And you break it open, you look at it, and it appears to be a moneylender's, or essentially a bank note. It is in all 5 of your names, and it is drafted into the total sum of 7,500 gold griffins.
We've just become very, very rich.
And I will remind you that Cloak has a giant sack full of gold bricks.
Well,
Again.
all of them have 2 of those gold bricks.
Right, there you go.
If
Yeah,
you could ever
yeah.
move those gold bricks. Yeah.
I've not been rich before.
Not even in a past life?
I'm a hermit. I'm a bird. I like
are a
shiny
bird
things, but I
hermit.
don't get... I live on a hill. Well, lived.
A bird
So,
Anyway, I'm tired. I'm not at all on my A game. And we're fucking rich now, so...
how much
I mean-
how much
That
is...
is 1,500 each.
When did you get here?
So yeah, Glaz and Cloak. Glaz
I'm
and Cloak
sorry,
arrived
were we not
about
there?
this time. Yeah. Nope, that was while you guys were showing up. So the note itself is not. Basically, it's signed by like what you would expect to be
Right.
like an accountant or a notary, that sort of deal, and it looks like it's being handled for a money changing or money lending firm.
Okay, yeah. I don't recognize the name. Is this a
Not- I
capital
mean,
loan
not
we've been
really.
given?
Not really, no. Yeah, basically, you've kind of been given a cashier's check with your name on it. So,
Gotcha.
Rio
So it's not like Bank of Gringwalls or whatever the fuck Harry Potter.
well, it's got a money changer, so you would go to
Gotcha.
that money changer and get it. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Riordan, how much is enlighten an old woman? How much is property?
What kind of property are you looking to invest in?
Location. Depends
It's
on
all
where you
about
buy.
location.
An abandoned tannery.
This is like the news show. It's like, today, Rowan and Riordan are trying to sell a nice
Zobek
two-bedroom
Hunters.
cottage in Zobek to Glaz and Cloak.
Their budget is
Midgardian
4,500 gold pieces.
Well, I was thinking
It's a dungeon.
you seemed interested in finding housing for your friend.
Did I? Yes. Well, I suppose I
John, yeah?
still am. I suppose I do owe him that much.
I
And after
we
all, the
can-
room here isn't.
We can leave him at the Folk House if you wish, since you seem to live here for 3 months, and
Yes,
I guess it
it's
depends
my
what he's into.
home away from home, but a more permanent location is probably smart. And they do always say to invest in property, so we're going to be here for a while, and well, things have sort of settled themselves out now. So
I don't really know
Seems
how
so.
money works, so
Glaz and
I
Cloak,
would
you
be
guys have
fine.
arrived, just so you guys know. You can chime in if you like. You kind of come in from breakfast, and you see Riordan and Rowan kind of like head to head looking at this parchment that they're sort of chattering over at the moment.
So they forget how to read.
I know how to read. I also know how to hear. Cloak.
the numbers. not letters. So take that. We're rich. Really not on my A
I
game
got
today.
gold bars in my bag.
I mean, we're even more rich. We just got this, and I send a letter, pass a letter over towards him.
Oh, this is a very reputable moneylender here in town. Okay, he's a somewhat reputable moneylender here in town.
It's a money lender.
I was going to say, yeah. Clyde is like everyone's trustworthy, right?
He's
okay,
let's go.
not the
Charge
most shady
collections.
moneylender in town.
Why are we getting this much money? Wait, wow.
We
did you
defended
guys-
the tavern, and this is our recompensation. So, yes,
Wait, we get money for
congratulations,
defending
Ross.
taverns?
Apparently, there was
Well,
already a hit
from-
out for defense.
When
Well,
we're
you know,
defending
you
it from
guys,
the 11
I just have to
heralds.
say, I gotta go.
No, you are staying here.
What?
Cloak out.
You have snuck off far too much these past few days, and I think you have some explaining to do.
No, I don't.
I grab Cloak by his cloak. We are going to stay together.
Fine.
He takes out the parchment he put away in his cloak, and he's like,
All right.
It's my turn to look after Puff Puff.
No, Puff-Puff's been with. I took Puff-Puff with me last night.
But I want to go at petting her.
I mean, she's right here.
"See, look, go Puff-Puff," and then she like teleports in your lap, and she's like, "Oh."
Yay.
Anything to distract anything off of Cloak.
As heartwarming as this all is, Cloak, what happened last night?
Oh, I snuck into the book fetish.
Okay. What did you find?
Did you get spanked?
Or groin stomped?
No. I don't know why people find that like. Okay.
I regret this so
Oh.
much.
Yeah.
That's usually what they say afterwards.
I know how to get into there, and I know where the entrance is. More information is going to come up later. I have, my people looking into it. The issue, well, they have a lot of stuff back there. I thought they had some wizard books. I thought they had some other stuff. They had some wands made out of bones, which was, I was like, that's pretty weird. They had, now, can I get some clarification? This vampire lady that's after you, what, is she after you because you worship Marina?
Yes. All right, can we have to keep going over this? It's pretty much why. It's religious persecution. Okay, let's get that one down.
They had religious text, and also, let me add this real quick. They had religious text of so on and so forth, and their book was made out of a very unique leather that you don't really make leather out of, and it had a great areola on it.
It had a nipple on it.
Yeah.
Sounds about
So
right.
you're-
I mean, we've been over this, right? We worship essentially the same things. It's just that I do it in a very different way. And mine's more, nowadays, vengeful,
Heretical.
killing. Yes, I'm an absolute heretic. Whereas she is a bit more mainstream. And, for that reason, persecutes a lot more. Whereas if I were in charge and in control, I would be persecuting her. Not in the same way exactly, but I would like to think on a similar level there would be an equal amount of persecution.
Persecution for all.
Persecutions for persecution's sake. I mean, it's one of our religious tenets. I mean, in all honesty, she's doing God's work by trying to kill me and everyone else. So I can only hate her so much.
I am still
In a way, I
confused as
admire
to
her.
how Milena allows both types of worship to happen simultaneously.
Well, it's all very well and nice having the choir boys, but after a while you start looking for the bad boys.
Okay, so question about that.
That
So-
sounded.
Are you sure you're
sounded
not the
a
player
lot,
boy now?
Sounded a lot different in my head than when I said it. I think I took a bump on the head last night. I've been coming up with some terrible.
So the skin books are the bad Morena or the other Morena.
Well, that's
And
just
that
that's mainstream. She's the church.
And then
The little books, they might just be awful romance novels.
That's essentially what we worship. It's bad romance.
romance novels.
It's
Is
a
it-
part
I'm
of
sorry.
it.
Is Mrs. Kettlewhistle part of your cult? Because she's got a lot of those books.
Have
Oh
you checked
yes,
any of them for areolas?
one of our
No,
best
they look like
group of
books,
followers, most devout group of followers are.
Glass
Middle-aged
smacks Cloak on the head for talking bad about Miss Kettlewhistle.
What was that for?
She is not a worshiper of Morena.
That's my point.
Jeez, man.
Don't say.
Why are you
Okay,
besmirching
her
Miss
books-
Kettlewhistle?
I'm not besmirching her. She likes, her like steamy novels, okay? And she
One of the barmaids kind of shoots you daggers in her gaze from across the room when you
What?
kind of shout that to the.
Maybe you should not be shouting the name of the Red Maiden in polite
didn't.
company.
What did I yell that name? I'm sorry. I got hit in the head and it just kind of spilt out.
Right.
That
well,
person doesn't have romance novels that are, covered in skin because that makes literally no sense.
the skin is a part of it. It'd take a long time to explain, but listen, what we've learned is that they are definitely with Cassinia in some way or another if they have those texts there, which means that in order for us to do some persecution back, we need to go there and kill them all as far as I'm concerned.
We might
Or
have.
at least Cosnia.
Burn the whole place down, all of them, every single one of them.
Can
I do not
I-
advocate fires.
They must all die.
Can I
There's
roll?
no question of
rel-
it.
Can I roll religion? Because I believe the evil Morena is worshipped by actual vampires, not the Dampier. Can I roll it at advantage because undead is my favorite enemies now?
Sure. You can make an intelligence religion check with advantage.
Yes, because I have no points in it, so I need the advantage.
Remember, you do also have a natural 20.
I'm still hanging. Wow, fucking great. Double threes.
Welcome to my world, you bastard. Double threes.
That's what you get for rolling well last time.
So you have a 3. Yeah, you're not super well versed on the esoteric religious practices of Morena in particular.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only weird thing about that room when I broke into it is that they had guards in it. And it's because a lot of that stuff is very valuable. Super valuable. I was up late last
Wow.
night, so I'm a little bit tired.
Well, here's the
That's
thing.
not
It
super
may
relevant.
well be that they are not worshipping them themselves. Maybe it's just that they're holding on to a couple of naughty books to sell on. Maybe Cassinia comes by and has a little flick through every now and again. As far as I'm concerned, when we're talking about heresy, as we definitely are in this case, I am a heretic to them, but they in turn are heretics to me. Now, Morena, she's telling me, and a big part of me, she's whispering to me, and she's saying, anyone involved should die. And there is this well of hatred and anger deep inside of me, which is just ready to bubble forth at any given moment towards these people. So my plan is succinctly just to go there, slaughter every last one of them. If they have families, we can find them as well, and I could go and kill some of them. Maybe they have children, doesn't really matter. Just root out the heresy, cut out the cancer, and then find Cassinia later. Send a message to her that she can't just screw with us, we screw with her back. And then when they're all dead, every last one of
Didn't
them.
you used to only worship
I know.
Morena through fucking?
Little bit. Still do.
I think I preferred
Those
just
days aren't
that.
over.
Wait, who are you fucking? Or did you guys last time?
No.
Did we?
No.
Okay.
I'm old enough to be your grandmother. Well, actually,
I mean, I don't think that would
age.
stop him.
Would that?
No. I mean, unless
I
he's
still
into
think he's older than
necrophilia.
him.
I mean, you were asleep on my floor this morning, so. I mean,
Yes, because
I
I
don't
didn't
know.
want anyone coming to murder you.
I'm like elbowing Glaz. I'm like,
Well, you're
Glaz is just
unless
Glaz is like so head desking, face palming right now. I'm just like, so do we want to talk about the blood or not?
I don't know. Do we want to talk about the fact that Riordan might be a necrophiliac?
I do.
No, I do not want to know whether or not
talk
Riordan
about
is a
that.
necrophiliac. What I would like to say is that we.
It's on the
Cloak.
table though, as a conversation piece. It's my party opener.
Wow, Riordan, wow. Today.
I'm not saying that I am. I'm just saying that
This has
it's
just
on the
been a-
table as a conversation piece.
We took the devil blood to the Cloven Nine, and they are going to see if they can find out more about the ritual.
Why didn't you just say that?
I have been
Because,
trying to say that, but all you were talking about this crazy talk.
Right. Well, you need to
Crazy
really
sex
work
talk
on.
and the nightlife of
really need to work
Zolbeck
on getting to the point, Glaz. Well, now, listen. So they've got the blood. We can go find them, and then we can use the blood to kill every last one of them. Is that what you're telling me? That's what I'm
Kill
hearing.
some of them.
We can target the
Besides-
right people to kill, so we don't just go killing willy-nilly.
Also, I am
Yeah.
an advocate for torturing for information, because if you just kill them, then it's you won't get what you're
I
after.
agree. Let's take them down to the altars. Let's find
But
every
they're
single
mad
one of
about
them
the
who are in on
void
this together.
speech. I don't understand.
I literally am like looking for person to person as I'm listening. This is like I saved us with a magical spell that was
This
put
is
myself
different.
in jeopardy.
This is heresy,
And-
Glaz. It's a different matter.
Fine.
What you don't understand, Glaz, is that there's one rule for everyone, and then there's another one for me. So,
Glad folds his arm and just goes, "That's fine. Fine. I'm fine. Fine."
Dan,
I knew you'd understand.
whilst
Yes.
everyone's distracted with this, Rowan is very subtly rolling the bones to find out like some kind of good or bad sense about Glaz.
Good or bad sense about Glaz? What do you mean?
In her mind, asking Wotan just for portents about how this void magic affecting him negatively, or should we be concerned for something he might do in the near future?
Okay. Go ahead and make me a couple of checks. One, make me a wisdom check.
Okay.
Oh, nat 20. All right. All right, then. So also make me a dexterity sleight of hand check.
Oh, great.
See how
Okay.
subtly you can manage this.
Not very.
Not very indeed.
Rolls off the
a 6.
table.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So
It's just,
all
it's
of
just
you
like,
kind of like Rowan's just sort of waiting while you guys are getting in the midst of conversation, and then just as she rolls the bones, you all just kind of hit one of those 7-minute pauses. So you all just hear clatter, 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 clatter over on the bench on the other side of the. And you all just look over and Rowan's rolling her knuckle bones. Okay, man. All right, 23.
Wotan, speak to me, please. Stop ignoring me.
Does she not know that we're all looking at her right now?
All right. So the carved knuckles spin and come to a stop, and as you look over the arrangement of runes, what you see is an arrangement of balance, but crossed with uncertainty.
Balance and uncertainty. Well, why are you all looking at me?
Because you just dropped a bunch of bones on the table.
I mean,
trying to
you're
figure
used
out-
to
I'm
me
still
doing
trying to
that
figure
by
out if we-
now.
You know, last night. Still a question.
No, we did not fuck. You have to make far better advances than you have.
I look around at Leo, I was like,
She's saying there's a chance.
All right.
yeah. So what I'm hearing is
But at this point, I'm considering, well, at least your goddess actually listens to you.
and my prayers are answered.
At this point, who knows? I feel maybe he's being half dead. Whatever this is some kind of punishment.
I can think of a few acts of devotion if you want.
Jesus.
I was trying to help. What? Why do you all assume that has to be filthy?
Does it involve
I
any
will
animals?
Because it is you.
I
Because
was just going
the
to
first
say.
first
some
time I met you,
bones.
you were. Everything you say sounds.
All right. So your conversations kind of meander on for a while. You can see that most of the cleaning up and kind of, quite frankly, the repair of the silk scabbard did not so much happen last night. It's kind of happening now. So they're, sanding out the scorched parts of the floor and, cleaning up the last of the blood stains and maybe even replacing a few of the broken or nasty floor planks up on the balcony that have been irreparably damaged by the Hellfire portal that ripped itself open in the middle of the second floor. So some time passes, and Cloak, you get kind of a combination tunnel vision, and everything else around you goes quiet, and you hear a voice sort of echo in your mind. The right hand of the chalice pours hellfire into blood. She seduces from the heart of the bower of blossoms.
Hello?
So you recognize that it was a sending spell. You don't exactly recognize the voice, however.
Can you write down what they said again?
Sure. I will put that into the VMix chat.
Sounds like
Thank
your.
you very much. Yeah,
Sounds
this
like your
is our
fortune
secret-
telling's come back.
No, it would be Valis who would be telling me that. This is.
Oh, I think this is it.
This is it.
Of course, this is.
He said
yeah,
it would
this
take
is-
a while. I thought it'd be like into the evening. We're still like mid-morning, I think.
Who was to say how long a sending takes?
I don't know.
The right hand of the chalice pours hellfire into blood. She seduces from the heart of the bower of blossoms.
So I'm like, I say it out loud. I'm like, sitting there, I'm like, the right hand of the chalice pours hellfire into blood. She seduces from the heart of the bower of blossoms. What?
If you will.
So, Riordan, that first line definitely catches your attention because Cosinia was essentially the handmaiden of the High Priestess of Morena.
Ah. Yes. That makes sense. She is the handmaiden. I guess the right hand. It's Casinia.
The High Priestess is, she is known as Lileshka of the Chalice.
The High Priestess is known as the Leshka of the Chalice.
and pours hellfire into blood, so she's...
Don't ask me to
blood
spell
and-
that because I never saw it written down. I just, everyone said her name. A bunch of L's in there, I think.
Is this... why would they be sending this in? I thought they were going to send someone to come get me.
I used to just call her Little Eshka, to be honest. Little. She was a bard or
He
something.
said they would send word.
Okay.
I suppose they are sending words.
Yeah, they are sending are literally sending words.
Quite literally sending words.
She seduces from the heart of the Bower of Blossoms.
Does the Bower of Blossoms ring a bell to me at all?
In recent days, there was the spring festival, and Zobek was frickin' covered in blossoms.
Yeah,
But that's a month or two past now.
more with the painful pleasures book.
Lads, what is it?
Oh, I think the Bower of the Blossoms. The family who deals in the herbs. The Zealous family. The Zeus
son of a
family.
bitch.
The house. Maybe their home. Somewhere there. The Zealous family. Remember,
In the heart of
they're
the
the ones
power.
who are controlling, bringing. Okay, my way down the wrong place.
We should kill them too. Yes.
No.
You're right.
Fine.
I mean, we could. I mean, honestly, they were behind the whole tablet thing in the first place. And
Who is
I
this
mean-
Zealous family?
Probably related
They
to
are-
if
they're
They deal in
herbalists.
all the botanicals and spell components here in town.
Oh, did
You know
I
what they say
buy
about
all those
herbalists?
ingredients from them?
Nope.
I think you were at the Alchemist Guild, right?
Yeah, you were at the Chartered Brotherhood of Alchemists.
But it can be assumed that's they
Remember, they were
get
either
they get
they
their
or
ingredients from them.
Fetish was short on stuff because there was a shortage
Yes.
of the crazy flower.
A Cory Blossom.
That's it.
Oh yeah, what's their house insignia?
You're not sure.
Is Kaja around?
Kaja is probably not around at this moment.
definitely seems like they're
Is-
heretics. So
Is,
I think
is Tyron still about?
Tyron looks like he took his leave. And so you guys are kind of looking around for someone familiar, knowledgeable, yeah? Is kind of where we're getting
somebody
at
can
here.
tell us
Okay.
more about the Zealous.
So looking around a little bit, you run into Valia, who is actually just returning to the silk scabbard, and you'd call it a walk of shame given the gown she is wearing, and that she is done up, and it's still kind of midday, but it looks like she's kind of just getting home. But she doesn't walk with any hint of shame. She walks like she's, owning every part of the city upon which she treads, and she has kind of a silk, it's not quite a cloak, it's more like a shawl or a wrap kind of around her shoulders, and she has this beautiful velvet gown that reaches down almost to the ground, not quite, so it doesn't pick up any dirt or scuffs, and her hair is done up, and she's wearing jewels, and she has kind of a wistful smile on her face, and she's humming softly to herself when she comes in. She exchanges a pleasant word with the bouncer, and then kind of blinks as you catch her attention, and she looks up. She says, "Oh,
Rook King Switch
hello."
Girl. Rook King Switch Girl.
I'm sorry.
What?
She does the Rook King Switch a lot.
what the hell are you talking about? What are these
When they play
words?
chess.
Are you
that
just
common?
thinking Infernal?
Could be known
It
as-
is a
Valia.
move in that chess.
King. She laughs this silvery little laugh and says, "It's a defensive maneuver. Never mind." How are you all? It's lovely to see you. Glaz, I was actually just coming to... Well, I was going to get myself cleaned up, but I was going to come looking for all of you. I have something for you.
Oh,
You do?
She reaches under her rep and pulls out an envelope and hands it over to you. She says, "A friend of mine." Money? I don't think so, but I suppose it's always possible. No, I think it's an invitation. Here, and she hands it over to Glaz.
Oh, is it okay
Anyway,
to open, or is it a surprise?
Oh no! Please open it. I'm going to excuse myself and probably take a little nap. I've been up for a long time. I'm sure you understand.
I would.
I'll see you all later this evening.
Okay.
Mine's the solidified devil blood up the top level. It's not pleasant.
Her eyes kind of go wide. The what?
Oh,
We'll tell you all about it after your nap. Go get some rest.
It was the heretics.
I protected everyone.
And I hold my sword in the air.
It was all puff
She
puff.
says, "All right, that's fine. I'm going into the back. I'm not going upstairs.
Taja will fill you in
just
on the
let."
details.
All right, everyone's okay.
Still a lot.
So she actually starts to look a little concerned, and sort of like kind of shifts to where she was going to kind of blow past and head to the back hallway, and kind of stops and
Just
sort of
people
steps
shaken
a
up.
little closer.
People shaken up a bit from what happened. There were 3 large devils were summoned upstairs last night.
I'm not sure if the body has
Devils?
been moved yet.
Body?
I totally get that.
One of Vandesian's hired hands was killed. Was
Poor,
apparently
Bevis.
used for a ritual to summon
that's-
these devils.
That's horrible.
We are trying to
We're going to
figure
find
out.
who did it and killed them.
All right. Well, I suppose I feel better knowing that you're all on it. And she kind of lays her hand on Glaz's forearm and says,
Well-
"All right,
We almost died. We could have almost died.
I'm
I almost
very
died
glad you
several
didn't."
times.
She seems like completely wrong-footed. Oop, sorry about that. Completely wrong-footed by this, and isn't really sure what to say for a moment.
We can talk about it later. It was
Well,
All right.
I would say that when you do see her, my companion Tilly, she's asleep somewhere. She did an excellent job, and I think that you should really thank her because she protected all of us.
Oh, of course, absolutely. I'd be happy to. All right. Well, be careful, whatever it is that you're getting yourselves involved in. I'll see y'all tonight, perhaps, if you're around.
How much do you know about the Zealous family? Do you know what their crest is? I don't want to keep you long.
She tilts her head and looks at you like, huh. And she kind of has this little bemused half smile, and she points at the envelope in your hand, and she says, "Well, it's on the seal, right there. That's an invitation. That is an invitation from Anastasia Zealous."
Now, son of a bitch!
And that's where we'll stop for this week.
What's on the
What
seal?
a happy coincidence!
Tell us what's on the seal, Dan.
All right, so you look on the seal, and there is a rose blossom, and then around the edges of it, it looks like bundles of herbs or maybe wheat, kind of stylized in sheafs around the outsides of the seal.
Is bower something to do with flowers? I gotta see if there's.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like a
it's
bunch
as in-
of flowers.
An invitation.
A bunch
for-
short can be
She
bunch of
seduces
flowers that
from
hang
the
over.
heart. Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy!
Yes!
We've got a party to go to. It seems like, and a lot of heretics to kill.
TV
So-
party tonight.
Yeah. Well. Thank you guys for watching us tonight. If you've enjoyed The World Tree Burns, let us know. Man, if you haven't checked out coverpress.com yet, go and check out all the Midgard World Books materials, PDFs you can go download on our website. It's fantastic. Check out the interactive map while you're there. and enjoy the world of Midgard, my friends, until we're back with you guys next week. And we're here, of course, every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, so you can join us then for that. But let's go around the cast and the crew. Did we enjoy ourselves tonight? Where can we find you guys online? Dan, how was that tonight?
That was great. We got into some stuff. There was some very heavy interpersonal stuff, some philosophy. That's always fun, and yeah, we have a couple of interesting irons in the fire, depending on what you guys decide to follow when. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. Yeah, so I had a great time. I always love playing with you guys. I miss having Simply Jackson here. We'll hopefully have everybody together next week.
My granddaughter.
I know. But I am Dan Dillon. You can find me on the Twitter at Dan_Dillon_1. Check me out. I love talking about D&D. If you have any questions about the game, I'd love to chat about it. Yeah.
Amazing. And Scarlett, what about yourself?
That was a lot.
A whole lot.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely need to take a few hours to take this all in. That was great. I'm just so happy to be back with the game because I really missed last week. Damn Blizzard.
Leaving
Activision.
Yeah, the weather, not the company. Yeah.
Blizzard. Yeah, I'll be back on World Tree Burns next week. You can find me at That Scarlet Moth on Twitter. I do art, cosplay, D&D stuff, and everything in between. Also, I'll be on one of the fundraiser games for the 48-hour fundraiser this weekend, DM'd by Alex Catu, I believe.
Yeah,
So,
I think I'm playing that one too. That's exciting.
yeah, it's the one for Uncaged Anthology, I believe. So,
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
yeah.
Sweet.
Looking forward to that. It'll be at 2 a.m. your time, so nighttime my time. I finally get the game, which is my time.
Awesome.
Fair
Sweet.
enough.
Yeah, and if you guys in chat there, or if you haven't signed up to come and play, come on, play with us. There's still a few DMs for us open. If you want to run a game here on the channel, you can do. It's all in aid of getting myself over to United States of America, of all place, to marry Sid. So yeah, we'll see you guys on Saturday. I'm super excited for that. Let's see, Toll Squall. Big episode for Glaz.
Oh yeah,
Big
hey,
episode
the
for
blast!
Glaz.
All kinds of fun things. I got to do all his thoughts and feelings about deep magic. We got to have mysterious visitors in his dreams, and wow, you guys, wow. Yeah, Glaz has got a lot to process. I am Tall Squall. You can find me all over the interwebs as Tall Squall. On Saturdays, I DM my own game over on my channel, Tall Squall, here on Twitch. And we are just finished up a big arc, killed off one of the big Nemesis's boss nemesis guys, and starting a new arc. So if you wanted to ever come and check it out, you can. This is a great place to start because a whole new arc is just kicking off.
Going to be jumping in because I've been commissioned to make a prop from that game, actually, by one of your players.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm going to be making Lysithia.
Lysithia, the Forged Eclipse,
Yeah.
which is the sentient sword that is our warlock's hexblade patron.
Cool.
Dope.
So I'll be jumping into that. I'm excited.
Nice. And last but not least, McLoken.
Hi, I'm McLoken. You might recognize me from You Think You Know Void Magic and Devils and Deals. Yeah, I had a great time tonight. I believe I kept Dan on his toes for most of the episode because I was like, let's go do this. And then taking Glaz on the adventure. I when I started talking about Cloak's cloak, all I heard was, "Oh shit!" Like,
yeah, that was me.
Oh shit! And I was just like, "Oh, don't let that break you." Yeah, I had a blast tonight. I like episodes they're like strictly RP heavy, and there's a lot of character bonding. I don't know how Glaz is going to react yet, just for the simple fact that he put it in the back of his head, and I don't know if later he's going to come out and be like, "You fucking killed someone," like. But who knows? Yeah, that's me. You follow me at my Twitter, at McCloakin. I'll tweet out whatever show I'm going to be on. I'm going to be on MetaMaster's channel this week, or this Friday, for a Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader game, which I'm super excited about. So, yeah, it'll be our 3rd episode, I think. So, other than that, Mondays on main gaming channel for Numenera, and here.
Fantastic. Well, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Gonna have to wait until next week to figure out what happens next on the World Tree Burns. We get into our last sort of mini arc, I guess, of this season. We've got another, 4 episodes? I think this is episode 12. So, yeah, we're getting close to our finale, which I'm getting excited about. So, yeah, cannot wait. But that's all we have time for tonight. Tomorrow we've got a special thing happening. We've got a special Call of Cthulhu one-shot happening as Ghoul Town 2 Electric, I don't know, Ghoul Boogaloo, I don't know. It's Ghoul as a Call of Cthulhu. It's shitty romance. It's the most cliches that you can come across. There's zombies. It's going to be a great time. It's all happening at 2 p.m. Eastern here tomorrow. We did one early last year just before Christmas, and we had a great time. So we're back again this new year to do another one. So I'm excited for that. And then, of course, we got the finale of my Warhammer game happening, a little mini-series I've been running called Spite of the Witch King. And then we have Tales from the Loop, Little Buses here on the channel at 8 p.m. Eastern. So we'll see you guys then. But until next time, try not to roll too many net ones. We want to be here laughing when you do. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Good night.
Bye.